right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! On three! 1, 2, 3! Turn that damn truth off!
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, how many times has anybody heard the word snowmageddon over the last 24 hours or so?
Snowpocalypse.
Yeah, those two things kind of get thrown around a little bit. I guess 7 inches helps qualify, although you don't have any more coming. I mean, it's not like this is a multi-day thing, so good. Good. How's everyone make it through our snow disaster-ish on January 24th?
I was lucky. I think Matty T had a little electricity, but I was lucky where I was.
Yeah, we lost power last night, but it came on in the middle of the night, so
for a little bit, yeah. I heard a couple people. There were some trees down, that's for sure.
I know all the weight from that snow had to be causing some issues.
Wet snow, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've heard it described. I guess it describes it pretty well. I saw 7 inches, pretty much. Well, Matt Zimmerman tweeted a photo from outside of his house, and he lives in East Fayetteville, and there it was, 7 inches of snow, and you could see those. You could see the branches were being pushed down quite a bit. It was. I wouldn't say scary or anything like that. It's actually pretty. It's a winter wonderland
At
outside.
least the roads, too, like, the sidewalks and the roads seem like they thawed pretty well. I didn't have any issues driving.
Well, we didn't have any issue having a nice crowd inside Bud Walton Arena yesterday. The students showed out. You had enough people work to be able to open the building up and have a few hot dogs and some nachos sold and Cokes. And the Hogs showed up, too, played themselves a good enough game. I say this. Now, I had to watch the game on replay earlier this morning. When I got back, I was at an event with my son yesterday, a roller skating event. And I don't get a chance to roller skate very often, and so I had to take advantage of that. And I ended up watching live like the last 7-8 minutes. Once LSU had gotten back within 11. Is basically when I was able to turn the game on and watch the last 7-8 minutes or so, and then watching the game on recording. A couple things to stand out here. I love the idea of Arkansas winning a low-scoring game. You know how I feel about this, Matt. Like you're not every game that gets played
to win
is
in different ways.
Pretty.
Yeah,
Win in different ways. Ugly game, so what? Win the ugly game. Win the game that neither team really has a great offensive game. Win the game where there's a million fouls being called. Win the game where they're just kind of, quote-unquote, letting them play, run through contact, and no whistles. And we saw Arkansas win. Truthfully, it was an ugly game yesterday because I think LSU right now is hot garbage.
they're not very good.
Well, I mean, and it's when you're playing a team that's struggling, and I think emotionally is also part of it for LSU, You've got to be the lighter, You've got to be the charcoal lighting fluid to turn that garbage into flaming garbage, and that's what LSU looked like quite a bit yesterday.
They couldn't shoot. They couldn't get in their offense. Yeah, they just top to bottom, Phil. They got outplayed. It looked in every aspect, especially in the front court. And the back court too. Our guards absolutely. I didn't see a single point guard on that LSU team the entire game. Somebody that you could really trust handling the ball.
Well, the guy that would usually be doing that, Justice Hill, missed. I think that's 3 games in a row for what Matt McMahon describes as personal reasons that are not disciplinary, but who knows when he's going to be coming back. And it looked like a team that didn't quite have a point guard yesterday. And it looked like a team that couldn't finish around the rim. They got to the rim against Arkansas a few times and just missed wide open shots. Just looked like, honestly, when you watch LSU yesterday, That to me looked like the worst team in the SEC.
They look
right
like
now.
South Carolina football when we played in week 2 last year. That's exactly right. And that was early in the year, and they didn't have a time to get it back. LSU's not a tournament team. They're not even an NIT team.
No, they don't look like it right now. So it's not a quad 1 win, but it's a win. And we're talking about trying to get on a roll. 2 wins in a row, not a streak, right? We've talked about this before. 3 wins in a row is a streak. And a roll would be winning 7 of 8 games, something like that.
That's
You're gonna
right.
have a really tough test coming up on Saturday against a team that can score in Baylor, and a team that will play with a hell of a lot more confidence than LSU. So I wonder if I don't think Adam Miller is going to be sending out any tweets about basketball anytime soon at all. Especially that he got locked down. Lockdown. Devo was so much fun to watch guarding him yesterday. I think Devo's playing with an edge no matter what, but with that tweet that Miller sent out, it was like a little bit of an extra edge to it. We're going to hold you, dude. You're not doing what you think you're going to do. And we've got the smoke for you.
Devo did. I thought he'd continue his streak playing a good game, and he did that just the same as he did last week. And the thing that I was impressed with was Ricky Council, and you're like, what? He went 4 for 13, 10 points. It doesn't. Hey, he had 7 assists, 6 boards. He didn't force it too much. He did just enough. He's going to score. He's going to be our scorer. But the fact that he was able to do some other things, he's such a willing and crafty passer. He really has good vision, but he's a score-first guard. Anthony Black is a pass-first. He's a facilitator guard. And I thought Ricky was able to do some other things when his shot necessarily wasn't falling.
7 assists as well for Ricky Council. And you love the Arkansas. I mean, they did share the ball really well. 15 assists on 23 made baskets. Didn't shoot great, but shot well enough. Opened up the middle a little bit by hitting enough threes. It's good to see. I mean, this thing with Devo now, it's 3 straight games where his shot is money and he's able to get to the rim and finish. And he's D'ing up hard. This is, I mean, we've seen Devo now play 3 years in a row. I'd be hard pressed to find a 3-game stretch where offensively, defensively, he's been any better than right now, especially when you mix in the outside shot, which is falling at a rate that it's never fallen before for him.
You point that out, Phil. The thing I've noticed about his outside shot that the last couple games, he's getting the shot at his spot that he wants to get, and they're not necessarily contested. There might be a defender around him, but that defender has 0% chance to block his shot, and so he's able to elevate and shoot it with confidence. That's what I've noticed that he's been doing.
Like you definitely have seen the makings in Devo of a good jump shot.
Oh, he has
because
it
of that elevation.
Yeah,
I mean, he rises.
He has
and
a pretty
fires
stroke,
about as good as anybody else on the team. And I mean, it looks pretty coming out of the hand. It doesn't always go in, but it's starting to go in, man. I mean, 7 for 8 from the field. A lot of those getting to the
open
rim,
jumpers too.
mid-range.
A lot of open jumpers, 2-3. Yeah, man. He was fun. It was fun to watch, and then Anthony Black doing his thing. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of games where Anthony Black's not the best player on the floor, especially against our non-conference, obviously, but in conference, night in, night out, he's the most talented player out there.
So now you get the extra day to prepare for Baylor and put LSU behind you. Baylor is an opportunity for a quad 1 win. These are the things that you're going to get seeded off of in the NCAA tournament. And we're still assuming, all things going the way that they should for the next 6 weeks or so, that this is an NCAA tournament team where they end up getting seeded. And the quad 1 wins for Arkansas have been really difficult to find right now. So far, they only have one of them. And I think that's the San Diego State win. This one with LSU, not quad 1, but you get an opportunity against Baylor on Saturday. I'm not going to put that in the must-win category. I'm going to put that in the, boy, that would be really great. It's that feels like the chance to, now you've got some positive momentum. Now you got the ball, theoretically rolling downhill a little bit. The team looks a little more comfortable, even with the loss to Mizzou. And that was a game that they played well for the most part. So there's 3 games in a row that you got something to feel good about, and you still got to get that first road win. It's nice to see them do it at Bud Walton Arena. It's nice to see it, no matter where it is it happens, but you got to win road games sooner or later. And Baylor's going to be one of the tougher places to go. You also go to Kentucky. You're traveling to Alabama. So, I mean, really the opportunities for road wins that mean something are somewhat minimal for now. So this Saturday game against Baylor would be near the top of the list. It is our favorite day of the week, isn't it? Wednesday. This is like our Friday in some ways.
Snow day Wednesday. Wednesdays are beautiful, Phil. I absolutely love working with you guys on Wednesdays. We're going to have a fun show today.
Well, you would have. It's not a snow day for us. It's not a snow day for us. What are the schools in Fort Smith doing?
They're not. I don't think anybody's going to school today around here. It was, like I said, there were some trees down a little bit because that wet snow came in. But it's, man, it's beautiful out there. Big snowflakes yesterday, man. It was pretty. And it came down quick. I know I sent you a picture, and then like 30 minutes later, it was all just white. Yeah. It
was the kind of snowflake that when it hits you in the cheek, you think somebody punched you in the face, right?
Definitely good for snowballs. Definitely good. Went out.
Tell me you made at least one.
Went out there and shoveled off the snow from my window last night a little bit. Had to make one up. Yeah.
I was reminded by my kids the last time that we were around snow together that we all made a snowman. My last house in Fayetteville. Didn't get any of that stuff in Central Arkansas. So, unfortunately, the kids around here were hoping that they would get a day off. Nope, back at school. And I know what's this deal with? I understand we're in an era of technology to where even if the building is closed, that kids can still quote unquote go to school through an iPad or computer connection. I thought maybe we learned during the pandemic shutdown that that's not quite the same kind of learning. It just turns into another day in front of a screen. I would think, did I hear Bentonville schools are just taking the day off? They're not having school. Kids can go out and have fun. Snow days, man, are the days you remember.
Right.
You don't remember anything about sitting there in a classroom or sitting there in front of your iPad or what have you. You remember going out and sledding, down a hill and zigzagging through trees and having mass snowball fights and playing snow football and all of that. And being outside until you can't feel your toes any longer.
And then you go in.
From the screens for one day, just one day. What's the difference?
Then you go in, you take all your clothes off in the mud room, and then you go take a shower and then warm back up again. Mom has some hot chocolate or some chicken noodle soup or something, and then about 2 hours later, you're like, let's go do it again.
And this is the day for grilled cheese and
tomato soup. Oh my goodness, you got it.
You got a couple of people here, and I'm not sure how Matty is on this. We're soup people. Matt and I have been sending – it's so funny, I'm actually going to admit that. We have been sending each other photos of soup over the last –
I was pretty proud of my last batch.
8 days. Yeah. I made the chicken noodle. I made the seafood
with
chowder.
the bone broth. Yeah.
And what did you make? What was you made a –
It was a squash and cabbage were the main two ingredients, and throw in some carrots and some garlic, some other stuff. But, man, those squash, you can't – I'm just sucker for it.
Figured out. I mean, we're thinking of ways maybe to do a podcast between the two or three of us again. Recipes, man. We'll do a cooking
Talk
show.
Soup was
Audio
taken. Yeah,
between guys that usually talk sports. Yeah, Soup Sunday. Be lots of fun on hitthatline.com.
That'd be cool.
Else. Yeah. So it's a Wednesday. That means we've got our 3 Wednesday guests. Bill King to get some college football in hour number 3. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in the 12 o'clock hour. And after this break, we're going to talk with Grant Hall about Arkansas basketball. And there's one player that was selected by the writers that will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Scott Rowland, maybe not really one of the all-time greats at third base, but good enough. Good enough to just get over the threshold of 75%. So, Grant Hall joining halftime after this.
California dreaming on such a winter's day. Stopped into church, I passed along the way. When I got down on my knees.
There's no place in the SEC that does it like this. where the home court advantage is so huge when the fans show up.
Number one environment in college basketball, no argument, Bud Walton.
I ain't never heard them get that loud. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters. Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
When you need a plumber, call the name you know and trust. Ashley Air. The same great people that take care of your heating and cooling system can also meet your plumbing needs. Right now, take $50 off any plumbing repair or get a $129 drain cleaning plus a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Restrictions apply. If you have clogged drains, Ashley Air is the one to call. Go to AshleyAir.com to schedule your plumbing service. That's AshleyAir.com. Proud sponsors of Razorback Athletics.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Watch some of the world's best track and field athletes compete right here in the track capital of the world as the Razorback Track and Field program chases an unprecedented 48th national title inside the world's fastest indoor track facility, the Tyson Indoor Track Center in Fayetteville. Join us on January 27th and 28th for the Razorback Invitational as the Hogs host some of the best track programs in the nation. Kids receive free admission at every meet. Join the chase at ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Drs. Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Southern nights. Have you ever felt a southern night? Free as a breeze, not to mention the trees, whistling tunes that you know and love so. Southern nights, just as good even when closed your eyes. I apologize to anyone who can truly say that he has found a better way.
Dribbles way out on the floor, 12 to shoot. Mitchell at the high post, hands it off to Council. Lob to Mitchell and a throwdown. A pick and roll lob. Mackay's got 10. Hogs are having fun now. 59-38 with 3:40 to go. We've seen him go in and dunk in this situation before.
Yeah, he might do it again.
Not going to tonight. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and it is over. The Razorbacks have won the ball game 60-40. A dominant performance by the Razorbacks tonight.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We appreciate Grant Hall's time on these Wednesday mornings. It's always fun talking with him. Grant, how are you today? Did you lose any power? You go outside this morning?
Our house has no power, and so, in fact, last night I couldn't get up my hill. There were about 7 or 8 cars, SUVs, everything couldn't make it up where I live. So I just parked down the hill, walked back down this morning, and I'm down in town there, actually next to Lewis Ford, where I got this Mustang, and they didn't have any power this morning, but the Chrysler building did. So here I am doing it in this building.
Here I am with this Mustang. You got a Shelby? Are you a Shelby enthusiast? You like the Cobras, Grant?
Are you talking about my car?
5.0 liter.
All I know is, man, I won it. Made a hole in one a couple of years ago and won that
Whatever.
car.
Are you serious? How
he
cool!
He told us about this before. That's right. I forgot about that.
That's awesome.
But, last night the sensors, I'm finding more about this thing. When I try to get up the hill, it says something about the sensor, and it kind of cut power a little bit, where you're not going to, you're not going to make it up the hill without that much power. So I'm still kind of figuring it out, get into snow mode, stuff like that. But I'm glad I went to the game because, that was one of the more memorable games. I was talking to Bob Holt about the time that Nolan Richardson expected about 1,000 fans, and about 19,000 showed up. And last night, Eric said he thought there might be 2,000 fans there, and he said maybe 14,000, and there were so many students that it really reminded me a little bit of Barnhill Arena in terms of you forget what the intensity of the noise, especially a lot of young people there like that. A lot of them probably hadn't been to the game all year, and they had a big time, and of course the game ended up okay too.
Yeah, student noise is a little bit different than adult noise in most cases. What was the scene after the game? I mean, getting out of the arena, was it mass chaos, or was everything sort of?
Well, I mean, I waited. By the time all the interviews were over and everything, it was pretty much a ghost town by then. But there were a few people who told me they were leaving early to kind of get ahead of the traffic out of there. But there were a couple of interesting things Mike Kaywood came up with. He said Arkansas is now 9-1, avenging a loss in the same season under Eric Musselman. The only time they didn't, I think, was Mississippi State one time. But also, the 40 points, I think that was tied for 10th lowest yield in what they called the modern era. I said, "What's the modern era?" And he said 1978. Well, still remember that pretty well. But the worst by an SEC opponent, 25.9%. I think that was the 5th worst shooting percentage by an opponent against Arkansas. And of course, they were 3 for 25 in the first half. But I tell you, to me, Devo Davis is, and Eric talked about it last night, becoming the leader of this team. They've been looking for some internal leadership, as he called it, and he said at times they've been kind of a quiet team this year. But he's doing it on the floor and off the floor. He even called a timeout on his own last night, which Eric said Devo's done 3-4 times since he's been at Arkansas. And he said he knew I wasn't going to call a timeout, so, have a little bit of trouble against the press, and so he did that. And Devo's been in the gym 2-3 times a day. Eric got there at 7:06 the other morning, and Devo had already been shooting for a while. So and it showed up. It showed up in the last 4 or 5 games.
He's getting his shot. I mean, all three of those guards. But the thing I've noticed the last couple games, I don't know what you've noticed, but his shots that he's getting to his spot, and he's able to. They're not really contested. Like, he's getting to his spot and getting open shots, and he's shooting them with confidence. And his defense. I don't even know if we talk about it enough, but I always feel like I lead with it. His defense is just first class defense as well.
Yeah, and he actually was on both of their leading guys. I mean, Adam Miller and Williams. I guess I think Miller scored 9 points, which Devo pointed out that's about.
They didn't have anybody in double figures. Yeah, LSU had 0.
No.
Yeah.
But what Eric also pointed out that Devo's shot selection has been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I think last night he was 7 out of 8, and we can remember some times in the past where his shots, some of them are kind of odd looking anyway, but his whole deal, it's at a timely moment now. And as Eric said, as you said, he said his defense is fabulous every night.
It's been an interesting. I mean, he's had an interesting career at Arkansas, but really, like the last 7 weeks or so, just going back to when he stepped away from the team for a game, and we didn't know.
Was he like 7 days or something? Yeah.
Or what the situation was. You could tell that something had happened in Maui, but he came back, and, man, it's like everybody asked, who's the leader of this team? Who are the leaders of this team? Sometimes you can't really tell until you hit a bit of a low
Some
point.
adversity, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and when
look
when
what's
you only
happened
have
since the low points.
You only had 2 players that were even here last year, but yet Devo's been to 2 Final Eights, and he said last night, he said this team is destined for greatness. Now, right now, it just feels like you're trying to win a game every time out, as they call it the Super Bowl. But I heard Jimmy Dykes say before my power went out last night, when I got back home, I heard him say that Nick Smith will be back in a couple of weeks. So, and by the way, I talked to Marty Smith a little bit last night. I had met him at the Masters one time, and as you can imagine, a fun guy. But he said that for the crowd last night, he thought on a night like that was just unbelievable.
I guess he and Boss Hogg had a little mix-up or something, or he got his coffee spilled by the giant blow-up mascot or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Marty Smith is an interesting. I think he's an interesting choice for sideline, because sometimes it's almost like he's doing Marty and McGee on the sideline. But I mean, he's really entertaining, and it was for the most part a pretty good broadcast last night. I think Tom Hart. I mean, he was asking, should I drive to Little Rock or do you think I can get a flight out of XNA? And it sounded like he was able to get a flight out of XNA. How much of yesterday, though, Grant, do you put on also? Look, I don't want to take anything away from the win, because I think they played well enough. LSU right now is terrible. They looked awful. I mean, they couldn't have hit the broadside of a barn with a lob pass or a shot or a layup attempt at times.
Yeah, it's weird, and then they came out with that 15-2 run or whatever it was in the first part of the second half, and as their coach said afterwards, that was the kind of game we were looking for. He just felt they couldn't do much in the first half, couldn't get into what they wanted to do because they weren't making any shots. But you could see, at least during about a 10-minute stretch there, how they could have been decent early. Of course, they did beat Arkansas. But, yeah, he's up against it. I mean, the big one now, of course, I think, is Saturday at Baylor. Baylor's ranked 17th, and not so much for Arkansas. Obviously, it's not an SEC game. But, I mean, that's something that could really help you if you ended up being a bubble team. If you could beat them on the road, they put a whole lot of value in that. So, sort of go in there, maybe take your free shot at it, and then if it doesn't work, then you're back to playing Texas A&M here.
Well, it's like the idea of acting like you got to play like you got nothing to lose. You can't play tight. I think as the losses began to gather up a little bit over that 1-5 start, there was like a tightness. I think players started to feel some pressure. I like to hear Devo say this team is about to get up, is about to explode or whatever it was that he said, because it looked to me like, I mean, they didn't have their best offensive game, but they're playing with energy. They're playing with, and you see this with Devo too. Like, he's got some spring in his step. I want to believe that they're about to get on a run, but I can't believe it until I see at least one road win.
And what complicates it is, Mikel Mitchell is still out. He's day-to-day, Eric told us after the game. In fact, he said he was suited up, but his shoes weren't tied, and he just didn't want – you're already down – you're down 3 guys, and I guess he felt better with just him being on the bench there. So maybe he might not be out too long. But, again, I mean, if what Jimmy says is accurate, then 2 weeks would work out to about February 7th, which is at Kentucky. And whether you would want Nick Smith to, talk about another baptism under fire going to Kentucky at their place for your first game back. But hopefully somewhere in there is the timetable.
Yeah, you kind of got to go to war with the guys that you got, and then when he shows up, you put your arms around your brother and you welcome him back into the team. And it's always easiest to welcome back the best player. So it's easy to integrate him into the offense.
Yeah, and it's if and when it happens, it is going to be interesting to see how they, because we've been talking about, Devo's the acknowledged leader of the team now, and of course Anthony Black plays all these minutes. Last night, Ricky Council played almost 40 minutes, so he came back from his bad game with a good one.
He found something. I thought he did well, considering his shot wasn't necessarily as good as it always is, because he's no doubt he's a scorer, but he did other things. I thought he found other way. And when it seemed like those other games when his shot wasn't falling, he didn't find other things to do, and that's what I was really impressed with. That his shot wasn't falling. Hey man, let's get some assists, let's get some rebounds, and I thought that he did that really well.
7 assists, and I think 6 defensive rebounds. Those were good numbers for him.
Grant, I got to switch the conversation over to the Baseball Hall of Fame. One player inducted. I kind of thought when we brought it up yesterday, there was a good chance nobody was going to be inducted again, which would have been 3 times in the last 10 years or so. And I mean, there's 2 conversations to have about this. One, I think it's good when players are inducted into the Hall of Fame, multiple players. You get to celebrate careers, puts a spotlight on the game and on history, recent history in some cases, which people love. And then there's the other aspect of the Hall of Fame that people, it feels like writers want to keep it almost incredibly exclusive. I feel like there are a couple of players that aren't getting votes that probably are real Hall of Famers when you look at the course of their career. And I'm thinking of Andrew Jones, thinking of Jeff Kent, maybe Todd Helton too. I mean, congratulations to Scott Rowland to get in. I want to see more players in the Hall of Fame. I'm kind of an inclusive Hall of Fame guy. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's interesting to see the progression that Rowland started out not getting that many votes, and then he got a lot last year. And, of course, as a Cardinals fan, I'm thrilled. And actually, I'm wondering if he's going to go in with a Cardinal uniform, or because he played one more year at Philadelphia than he did at St. Louis, but in St. Louis had that great 06, and
won a World
part
Series
of
with
postseason.
it, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Players don't get to choose what hat they wear. I think it's up to the people in the Hall.
Is that how they do it? Well,
I think so. I
no
don't think the player
at all,
chooses.
huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, he obviously was a great 8 Gold Gloves, I think, and there was one season where he got a bad injury in one of his better years and kind of shut him down. But of course, I'm glad to see him go in. I kind of hear what you're saying about. To me, Helton probably is a Hall of Famer. My gosh, 18 years of pretty good consistency. But I think that again, I think the Hall of Fame people probably worry. What do they do if you have, as you said, 2 out of 3 years and no inductees? Then that kind of messes them up, no ceremony and stuff.
Now, was Scott Rowland, did he wear batting gloves or he didn't wear batting gloves? Was he one of those guys?
I think he probably did.
He did.
The ones that don't are the exceptions. Matt Carpenter, I don't think wears batting gloves.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, guys, and quickly, I went to Dave's press opportunity last week, and Phil, I'm sure you followed all of it, but Dave said during that time that this is the most depth of pitching he's ever had. He said, "How about that? I mean, that's a mouthful for a coach that has had his success to say." And they're pretty excited. Probably not excited about the weather right now, but they're excited about the coming season.
Yeah, but I think it's also true is what he's saying. It's a ridiculous amount of power arms. I think there might have been other years where you had a really deep pitching staff. It's just they weren't all, and this is the way the game is now. But I mean, you get probably, I don't know, like 8 guys that are throwing 94 miles an hour, if not harder than that. I mean, I feel like in the back of their minds, they know what the weekend rotation is going to look like to start the season, but there's too many good arms to not have a competition over the next few weeks before the season begins.
Yeah, and there might not be quite as much home run power, but I really liked what he said about going first to third, maybe stealing more bases. Really, that sounds like getting back to more of what Dave did when he got here. And of course, you know, your personnel dictates what you do, but what he likes to do is have a guy, you know, look the center fielder right in the eye and go from first to third on this thing, because those are big plays. So I hope we see a lot of that this year.
I do wonder about the team speed a little bit, but then speed doesn't necessarily have much to do with stealing bases and ability to run bases and go first to third. That's instincts, and that's technique, and you know they're going to be teaching that technique. Grant, we're right up against the break, and we appreciate you hopping on with us on these Wednesdays. Thank you very much.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Grant.
Grant Hall with us every Wednesday here on Halftime. Hey, you might have had a little damage on your roof with the snowstorm from last night. Well, Ramos Roofing can help replace your roof or any problems with your roof on your home or your commercial building in eastern Oklahoma and in the River Valley. Ramos Roofing is locally owned. They'll assist you with your insurance as well. Call 479-420-9903. Ramos Roofing guarantees their work. They stand behind their roof, and you can stand underneath it. Call Ramos Roofing today, 479-420-9903. Halftime will be right back.
Home is everything. It's your sanctuary, your command center, your music room, and your art studio. It's where you eat family dinners and make lasting memories. When you use a Weichert agent to help you find your home, we'll help you find the space to make it yours. When you begin your search, know that a Weichert agent will be there with you every step of the way. Because at Weichert Realtors, we guide you home. To get started, call your local Weichert agent and look for our bright yellow signs all over town. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
When you're looking for your next vehicle, stop in and see us at Randall Ford in Fort Smith. You know, from Fords, Lincolns, new, pre-owned, Chevrolets, Kias, Nissan, whatever you can think of, chances are Randall Ford will have them in stock. Shop us online, check out our inventory. It's right there. We're transparent at Randall Ford. We don't want to hide anything from you. And if you have questions about these vehicles, you can either call us here at Randall or simply come by and see us. We're here to make sure that we take care of you and treat you like family the first time. You know, this dealership is proudly letting everyone know, as we always do, 4th oldest Ford dealership in America. We've been here for almost 115 years and counting. So stop by and see us today. When you're in the market for your next quality check pre-owned or a new vehicle, we want your business. We want to earn your business. Just give us a chance to treat you right at Randall Ford in Fort Smith.
Thank you from Art's Barbecue and Burgers for a successful year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to shout out our amazing community of customers that we are grateful and thankful for, each and every one of you. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to continue to enjoy our best barbecue, burgers, all-you-can-eat catfish every Friday night, and of course, the great sides and desserts. Art's Barbecue and Burgers, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers on Rogers, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Van Alma Tire Center is always right around the corner from you with all the major brand tires for you to choose from. Bridgestone, Firestone, Cooper, and more. Turn into Van Alma Tire Center for all your tire needs, alignments, oil changes, brakes, and more. With service you can depend on, Van Alma Tire Center is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle and tire needs. Right around the corner at 6805 Alma Highway, 5 miles east of Van Buren and 2 miles west of Alma.
Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric has been the most trusted heating and air company in Arkansas for more than 50 years. As the winter weather changes from hot to cold, trust the pros at Pascal to ensure your system is performing at its best. Right now, get a heating tune-up for only $99 per system. Want full protection and member discounts? It's only $1 more per visit. Call today or visit GoPascal.com to schedule online anytime. Professional people, professional service. GoPascal.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Her name is Rita. She's being kicked out the door at this very moment by Rod Stewart. 877-377-6963. Anybody, including Rita, can call right now. Let's see, last night, Kentucky made it 4 wins in a row since the program, quote-unquote, ended with that loss to South Carolina. They beat up on Vandy 69-53. Liam Robbins missed that game once again. I think that's 3 games in a row that Robbins has missed. Sheboy yesterday, 15 points, 13 rebounds, and I saw, get a load of this, in this SEC, 5 fouls were called on Vanderbilt for the entire ball game. That's kind of rare. When was the last time Arkansas was whistled for even less than 10 fouls in one game? It's probably been a long time. Mizzou hit 16 three-pointers to send Ole Miss to a 1-7 conference record and a road win for Mizzou, 89-77. You're starting to see the separation now in the Southeastern Conference. And boy, Arkansas was sitting on that one conference win for a good while. And now you kind of separated outside from Carolina, from Mississippi State, from LSU, and from Ole Miss. Arkansas is tied with Vanderbilt and Georgia in the standings as far as wins are concerned, with 3 of them in the SEC. Georgia's at Tennessee tonight. South Carolina at Florida. Mississippi State, the sacrificial lamb, at Alabama. And Texas A&M and Auburn, maybe the best game of the night. It's on ESPN2, 8 o'clock. And Auburn's putting that home game winning streak on the line. That is now 27 straight home wins. A&M, though, 5-1 in conference, so that's definitely one to watch. As far as the, you don't worry about the conference games this Saturday. You're just involved in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, which is coming to an end after this year.
Really?
Yeah, they've the contract is up, and the SEC has signed with the ACC. I don't know how long the contract is, but does the ACC have the same amount of members?
That was going to be my first question, Phil.
One of the awkward things about the Big 12 deal is that there are 4 teams that are left out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe things are changing next year. I can't remember I know that the 4 schools that are destined to go into the Big 12. I don't know if they're all going in the same year, and then of course OU and Texas come out. So I don't think the ACC is going to be at 16, is it? I mean, I can't remember all of the number as far as it goes, but I mean, really, like the Big 12 is, I think now, the unquestioned best conference in the in NCAA men's basketball. I mean, I think all but one of the 10 teams right now are at least, when you read bracketology, like considered for the tournament. I mean, I think they have more teams ranked in that league than teams that are unranked. The ACC is not what we're used to this season, not at all. And who knows what it means in the future, but, I mean, you don't have those coaching legends any longer at Duke or at North Carolina. I guess I'd say Tony Bennett is probably the best. And I mean, is the word legendary right to use? Well, he's still
at Virginia.
There's still Boeheim at Syracuse, but that's not the same program that he was running for all those years. Yeah, I mean, the ACC still has you got a lot of those buildings that you want to go see. You want to get into Cameron, you want to get into the Dean Dome. I guess I'm trying to rack my brain as to some of the other ones you'd like to go play in. I guess going to the Carrier Dome would be kind of cool.
I always thought East Lansing would be cool. Little Tom Izzo team. That would be fun. I know they're not in the ACC. Syracuse, man. When they had that 2-3 zone, how fun was that team? Hakeem Warwick. Oh man, they were a lot of fun.
And they still play that zone too. Matt reminds us it's 15 schools in the ACC. That's when you count Notre Dame, and they're not losing anybody for right now. Wouldn't that be interesting? I mean, all that conversation we had when the announcement about UCLA and USC joining the Big Ten, you're like, all right, well, the SEC is going to keep expanding, right? They're going to get Clemson, right? They're going to get Miami, right? What about Florida State? Can you you're already taking away OU and Texas from the Big 12, and now you're decoupling from them as far as having a regular season classic is concerned. Do the same to the ACC in the future.
How many does that put us at? 18 for the SEC?
Well, you'll have 16 once Texas and OU
16.
join.
See, I always thought that they were going to go two groups of 10, a East and a West. So you got 10 and 10, where you can play your season schedule just like that, and you can have a true winner, just kind of like how the Big Ten was trying to do. And then you have your true winner at that way, and then you're able to play a true conference championship game.
Well, Matt, we're 6 months away from school secession season. Is that the right thing to call it? It's talking season, right? Yes, I understand. But it's 2 years in a row now that there have been major announcements about schools. Basically the anchor schools of each of these leagues moving on to a different league. So I guess I'm just sort of expecting it to happen again in 5 to 6 months, just because we've got this track record of 2 years in a row. If it's 3 years in a row, Matt, then we have a streak.
That's right. Then it's about to, it's you can't have everybody. You got to kind of be a little selective. Do you think there's any way that the SEC tries to distance itself maybe from a Vanderbilt or a Mississippi State or somebody who's really just not that good or not contributing to the SEC? Or anyway, Arkansas could get out of the SEC and go maybe to the Big 12 or anything. Not that they would want to, but if you're getting Clemson, you're kind of making a super league and doing all this, could you see them kind of getting away from some of the bottom tier SEC teams?
I doubt it. I doubt you're going to – I can't think of what's the last team to actually be booted out of a league? I think Temple. Temple was kicked out of the Big East Football League because they stunk so badly for so long. Other than that, I don't remember hearing about any other school that's been kicked out of a league. And I can't see the SEC doing it because these schools still bring money in somehow, right? All right, we got a break. Hour number 1 is wrapping up, and we'll be right back on halftime after this.
In the morning.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Searching for a promising career change? Looking for an established company that pays competitively and values its team members? Then come be a part of the Beckert family. Beckert in Van Buren has immediate openings for production operators paying up to $29 an hour. Sundays are paid at time and a half, and night shift work has an added premium of $1 per hour. Applications are available 24/7 at Beckert, located off I-40 at Exit 3. Apply today.
Hi, this is Melissa Vitale, owner of True Grit Running Company. Your young athlete deserves the best when it comes to footwear. After all, it's good to start early so they don't have problems in the future. We've got options for training, cross-country, gym class, and more. Our well-trained staff can guide your student athlete through our personalized fit process to help find that True Grit fit. And for our cross-country kids, we offer a 10% discount off of your total purchase. Visit our store in Fort Smith, located behind Chick-fil-A.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Maybe someday I'll be strong. Maybe it won't be long. I'll be the one who's tough. You'll be the one who's got it rough. It won't be long, and maybe I'll be real strong. Maybe I'll do things right. Maybe I'll start tonight. You'll learn to cry like me. Baby, let's just wait and see. Maybe I'll start tonight and do things right.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Congratulations to Razorback signees Bay Fall and Talia Scott for being named to the McDonald's All-America teams. for the McDonald's All-America game next month. Very exciting for both of them. And now, do you realize, if you count those two signees, there are 4 men's and 4 women's basketball players for the University of Arkansas that were or currently are McDonald's All-Americans. Not just nominees, which is an achievement in and of itself, but people actually play in this game. For the men's team, of course, there's Bay Fall and also Jordan Walsh, Anthony Black, Nick Smith Jr. For Mike Neighbors' team, Mariam Dowda and Jersey Wolfenbarger, both on the 2021 McDonald's All-America squad, and Sasha Goforth, who's still on the roster, although not playing. She was a McDonald's All-American her last year at Fayetteville High School. Still have Sasha showing up at all the home games, and there's a roster spot for her. I don't know if she'll play again. Christina Long had a nice piece in the Southwest Times. I think it was late last week, kind of talking with Sasha and seeing where her mind is as far as that's concerned. And, I mean, she's staying close enough to the game where I think it's still something that is part of her, but I'm not sure if I saw anything in the article or anybody has said anything else to me that makes me think she's going to come back to play for the rest of this season. We'll see what happens over the summertime.
Yeah, what's wrong? Like, wait.
She stepped away from the program. There's a stomach ailment that she's been dealing with, and I think a lot of I think she's been affected by that pretty heavily, and wanted to take a step away for mental health and for her own physical health.
Well, I wish her the best because I love watching her play. I hope she gets back and does whatever she wants to do in her life, but I do wish her the best. But she's fun to watch out there. But if you could get 5 of them out there like her, you'd have a good team.
Yeah, play really hard. And considering how hard I remember watching Sasha play last year and what she was dealing with, yeah, that must have taken a little bit more effort than normal. Hour number 2 of halftime coming up. You can call us 877-377-6963 for halftime.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
Call Phil Hicks in Greenwood or Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come Get You Some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we may be dealing with some slippery road conditions to start. Otherwise, cloudy skies. It'll be drier today, upper 30s to lower 40s. Cloudy skies tonight. Overnight low will drop down low 20s north, upper 20s south. And sunshine highs mid-30s north on Thursday, low 40s south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Carco Auto Sales. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromcarco.com.
I hate everything you just said.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man!
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! On three! 1, 2, 3! Turn that back,
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Back on Halftime, hour number 2. Great to be with you here. 877-377-6963 for a call or a text. Devontae Davis, the leader of Arkansas basketball, coming up big for them yesterday, and then talking about it afterwards. Yeah, I think they enjoyed their time with Adam Miller on the court yesterday. Devo playing all 40 minutes, guarding Miller a good chunk of the time, holding him to 9 points. Spoke afterwards about wanting to hold him to about his average in conference. Devo putting up 16 himself, 7 for 8 shooting. Made both of his threes, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, plus 20 when on the court. Can't really get all that much better than that, I think, when you look at it. But is the question I have here, is this the norm for Devo Davis?
He's in a purple patch. He's having a hot streak right now. He's a little streaky. That's the thing that's the norm, Phil, is his defensive end. What he can get what we can get from him on the offensive end when he's playing smart, playing fast that way. How efficient he can be, that's just a bonus. I love his game, and night in, night out, you get the defense, and then when he can give you that offense, man, he's a little streaky. Excuse me. The thing is, we don't want to have to rely on him to be that guy. Ricky Council's that guy. Jordan Walsh has to step up. They got to get it in other areas, and it's a bonus when you get what he can give you on the offensive end.
Well, that's the thing I was leading into here, is that I think it is a team right now that is kind of – a lot of the players, I think, at least scoring-wise, are streaky, are hot or cold, you know? And sometimes a little tough to find that purple patch that you said. I'd not heard that one before. I like that.
It's a EP soccer. There you go. You wake up.
Of course.
Yeah. But no, he is streaky with that shot. But like you said, Phil, he has a great looking shot. I mean, it's when he gets it going. And I think that what happens too is it kind of goes in line where the teams on the scouting report. You get a scouting report before each game. And I guarantee you, it's like we got to stop Ricky Council from shooting those mid-range jumpers. We got to stop Anthony Black from penetrating and dishing. You got to stop Jordan Walsh from getting all the offensive rebounds. And then maybe the fourth thing is Devo, because he's such a defensive guy, you're probably not paying much attention to him, and it allows him the opportunity to step up and make plays.
So when Devo has an off game shooting-wise, you know, who else can step into that void? Well, you just hope that's not a game where Ricky doesn't have, you know, where he doesn't have one of those games that you saw against Ole Miss. You know, Walsh has had this, you know, offensive
freshman
disappearing
stuff.
act at times. But and then there's other games like Ole Miss where it's just like, all right, the shot's there, he's getting to the rim, and he does all these other things defensively, certainly. But yeah, that's you can see that he's a freshman as far as the consistency is concerned. Joseph Pinion, a lot of talk about Joseph Pinion. A 0 in 6.5 minutes. Got a couple of looks for threes, and if he's not going to hit threes, he's probably not going to be on the court very much. Jalen Graham, again, you get out there and do a little something offensively, but it's hot and it's cold. And there's one thing that moving forward is that somebody's got to be. You do have to have a consistent score on a game-by-game basis. I mean, you got to be able to count on someone to give you a consistent, 12 to 18 every game. I feel like soon, I don't know when it'll happen. It's just by the track record of watching Devo for these last few years. There'll be a game soon. Maybe it's Saturday in Baylor where the shot just is not there. You got to have somebody else step up, man. And the other aspect of this, too, I love that they won a game scoring only 60 points. But that's not going to happen very often. It just isn't going to happen very often. I don't think you're going to face too many teams that are in such a dire situation to score the ball as LSU. I think that's 5 games in a row that they haven't eclipsed 70 points.
Phil, watching them play, and I know we don't want to talk about LSU basketball that much, but they did not have a guard or that floor general that were getting them set. Whatever we were doing on defense, it was just causing them they never looked comfortable on the offensive end all night long. They never got into their sets or into their pieces. It was almost like the coaches over there, what are y'all even running plays? And that's a testament to Coach Muss and that defense getting back at it. And if it is bulletin board material, whatever it took, man, we were out there and we played probably one of our best defensive. we did 40 points, man. This is the best defensive game we played in conference ball.
Muss is always part of the attraction of watching Arkansas right now. But
he was hyped. He was getting hyped.
He was in some rare form last night.
Oh, they called this foul. Okay, Phil, you didn't see this play. They go up for a dunk or something, and Jordan Walsh is not even looking at the guy, like a rebound or something. So he hits him from the backside or whatever. They call a charge on Jordan Walsh, and Coach Muss is just losing. He's like, "How is this? Hang on just a second. You can't call that. That's not." You totally understood why he was because as a coach, you're like. That's not even. There's nowhere in the rules or in that. Whenever you take basketball 101 as a ref, they never show you that. He was losing his mind.
Well, there were some choice words that the ESPN cameras. You didn't even have to be a lip reader to see what he was saying. One of them was after a timeout that LSU called when Arkansas was on that big run in the first half, and I love watching Muss stomp towards the student section and shout out towards them, and you could see what he was saying. And it was fairly intense.
Let's go. Yeah.
There was a word in front of let's go. And then there was the moment early in the second half where the official was like, all right, you're too far out on the floor.
Oh, and he just kind of pushes him out. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He just goes around him. Yeah.
I think I saw something about, he called him a very choice name and then something about give me a break. And I think everybody sort of rolled their eyes about it. And gosh, he's so entertaining. And even at halftime, when Marty Smith spoke with Muss, he actually used the term unhinged with Muss. He said, "You're more unhinged than usual."
That was after that play. Yeah.
I thought that would be the moment that you look over the microphone and it's like, "What did you just call me?" Because unhinged, you read unhinged in the dictionary, it's defined as mentally unbalanced, deranged. That's the term Marty Smith used to describe Muss yesterday. In front of Muss. He actually said it to his face.
He said, "You're very animated, Coach."
Yes, you are unhinged and animated. And raspy at the same time.
Hey, he's passionate, and I love it. The student sections there. Phil, I'd like to see them do that more often where you just have a student section game where it's like, man, all the students, let's go, and prepare for it that way where you could have 19,000 students there and just have, that would just be, I don't know if they would ever do that, but if you could have a student-only game once a year, man, all the students come to
season ticket package. Think about that season ticket package.
But they don't.
All right, we got 18 home games this year. We're going to sell season ticket packages for 17 of them. The other one, that's all students, man.
But maybe not 19, a conference game. You know what I mean?
Probably not.
Yeah. But that would be
a weekend.
The atmosphere is just, it's unreal. All those, was it Grant that said that earlier? It's like when you have older folks, sometimes we kind of sit on our hands. We've seen it before. We're waiting on them to make a play. when it's all students, we don't know any better. We're just happy to be there. Anytime something goes, we're just calling the hogs already. I loved it.
Oh, those kids never sit down. They never sit down. I love when they break out all sorts of different, essentially, like they look like big fatheads of TV characters. You're like, why are you showing me? All of a sudden, you're showing me like forget the name.
Elaine
of the guy
Bennis.
Yeah, you're seeing all of these things just pop up, and it's because they were reverend students, and that's how you was a student. Charlie's giving us a call. Hi, Charlie. Happy Wednesday. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Happy Wednesday, guys. You guys talking about Muss. You know what Muss reminds me of? And maybe I'm wrong by this. He's like, he could be a W. Okay, let's not talk about how tall he is. Let's take that out of the picture. I'm talking about his character here. He could be one of the best WWE characters of all time. All you got to do is give him a microphone.
He doesn't have to be a big guy. I mean, think of some of the all-time great members in WWF or WWE that were just managers. He'd be a great manager.
I don't think he would be the best manager, one of the best. I mean, no doubt about it. Just give him a microphone.
Flying off the top rope, yeah.
Hey, he don't need a microphone. Give him a megaphone. He'd be the new mouth of the South. Just give him a megaphone.
Scott Weiland.
Yeah, I mean, he's that good. I mean, he just, and he's the same way all the time. I think they're up 15, down. He is the same way.
He's intense, isn't he? Yeah.
And I love it. But I mean, I know a lot of people don't like some of the antics, and I get it to some extent. But listen, he's not going to change who he is. He's even said it. That is one of my weaknesses. And sometimes I just black out in certain moments, and I really think. Like when Jordan Walsh got called for that foul man, he probably just blacked out in that moment.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the ref didn't change. Like, it was like, what? How are you calling that? I could not believe it.
It was a terrible call, but Muss just lost it. His mind just went completely. I'm going after this ref. He's defending his players, obviously, and it's just his mindset. Like, this ain't happening. Like that. He's old school too. Think about his dad, and I don't know. I'm sure back in that day, it was even crazier with officials and coaches. So. He just kind of grew up in that era, and he's this little 5'5", like he's just like it's crazy how the energy he has. I know this. I feel sorry for Danielle when they lose. I'm sure she puts him out every single time he's going to the Bull House. You're not staying in here tonight because he's the worst loser ever, which makes him even greater. So anyway, I do want to talk about something real quick. Matt Jones, you said it yesterday. We described Devo Davis in one word. He's a baller. And
yes, he is.
I think it just continues to show itself. I looked at a statistic the last 8 games, and Phil, I agree with you. Offensively, he's going to have a game where he's only going to have 2 points. He's going to go 1 for 7. But it's just the fact that what he gives you defensively, his energy, his will, all those things that Jimmy Dykes was talking about and has talked about every time he's covered him. He's special, and I don't care what people say. Every team needs a vocal leader. I know this team somebody had to step up at some point, and you're starting to see Devo do that. And you think about all the guys we've had in the past. He's talked about it, JD, J. Will. JD wasn't vocal, but, man, as a coach, Matt, though, let me ask you this. I want to ask you this before I get off here. When you have guys like JD and Devo who probably drive you crazy as well because they're so good, they're so great at what they do, but then they make you scratch your head. How do you – because I feel like Muss gives his certain freedoms. Like Devo's called like 3 or 4 timeouts since he's been there. And it's because he trusts them. And, it's just – it's crazy to me. How do you balance that as a coach? Like you got this guy like J.D. Note that might drive you crazy on one play, but, he's so great. You got to live with some of the mistakes. And that's the same with any player, but – Do you have certain thresholds?
That's
for that?
That's a good point right there.
Guys.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a good point. The thing with JD, he was offensive, and when you have a guy that's vocal, and this is my experience because there's different ways to lead, but you have to be authentic. You can't try to be someone you're not, and that's what Devo is. You have to be elite at something on the court. your teammates have to respect your game. You can't be a guy that's not that good and trying to be a vocal leader because it's just like, shut up, dude. You're not even good.
You don't lead from the bench. You don't lead by waving a towel.
Exactly, and that's my whole point. Devo is an elite defender. He's an energy guy, and so the players respect him. That's why he's able to be that vocal leader, and that's who he is. He's not being somebody he's not. That's the number one rule in leader is you have to be authentic. You cannot be a fugazi. You got to be real. And then it starts from there, and that's what he's doing.
Well, you got to do something elite. With J.D. Note, it was scoring. I mean, he was
an
elite
offensive
college basketball scorer. And with Devo, he's an elite defender.
Yes, he is.
And there's something else that goes along with the elite. And it's got to be elite, too. You have to give elite effort.
Uh-huh.
You can't be a dog. I mean, there's two ways. They're calling Devo a dog on the broadcast last night. That was in a positive way.
He is,
You can't be the other kind of dog. You know, the one that has to get dragged through the mud.
The lazy dog, yeah.
Exactly. You cannot be like that at all. And Devo doesn't play like that. Certainly not defensively. There are times where it's like, what's going on here on the offensive side? Usually it's just about shot selection. He's turned it over a little bit. But on the other end of the court, he's always given great effort defensively. And this team, for the most part, is doing that right now, too.
And it's to your point that we were talking about earlier, Phil. When he turns it over, when he gets ahead of himself, when we're down 8 and he's trying to press and trying to make a play, when he's really trying just a little too hard on the offensive end. But when he's letting it flow when we're winning and they're playing with confidence, he doesn't have as many as those boneheaded plays.
Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in just a moment here on Halftime. Brought to you by WT Equipment. They have their 8 locations serving customers all across Arkansas and North Louisiana. The newest location opened in Searcy a few months ago. That's WT Equipment. They're an authorized New Holland agriculture and construction equipment dealership offering equipment sales, service, and parts. So if you need equipment to be ready for harvest or put up hay next summer, WT Equipment is your source. They have 8 locations, and you can go online to see their entire inventory at WTEquip.com. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation next on Halftime.
Arkansas, will you make the Final Four in them wacky uniforms with the pigs with horns? And did I hear you say you were playing a game today with the home crowd yelling, woo, pig suey? Hey, those pigs may be hogs, but they're kosher to me. Capiche?
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas wins a national championship!
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Have a loan with a variable to balloon rate? That might be a problem if it's due to reprice soon. Let Farm Credit fix your problem with a long-term fixed interest rate loan. Farm Credit's terms are the longest in the ag industry, ensuring you'll have peace of mind for years to come. At Farm Credit, you have nothing to lose. When rates begin to drop, you can easily readjust your rate again with no refinancing application, no new appraisals, no new title work. We make it simple. Find a Farm Credit office near you at myaglender.com. Equal housing lender.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
Community, where you create a home, you shop, you play, you cheer. At Wave Rural Connect, we live in the same community as you. You might see our employees in the grocery store, at the park, maybe the ball game. Wave Rural Connect is here to enable this community that we love with fast fiber internet, TV, and phone right here in your town, along with friendly local customer service. Go to waveruralconnect.com or call us at 1-833-4WAVE-RC to find out more. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric has been the most trusted heating and air company in Arkansas for more than 50 years. As the winter weather changes from hot to cold, trust the pros at Paschal to ensure your system is performing at its best. Right now, get a heating tune-up for only $99 per system. Want full protection and member discounts? It's only $1 more per visit. Call today or visit GoPaschal.com to schedule online anytime. Professional people, professional service. GoPaschal.com.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Thought he might try to take Ward right there, didn't? I mean, he snatched that pass 2 feet away from him. Now Black's going to shoot a three, and he knocks it down. How about that? Anthony Black, defense on one end, three-pointer on the other. It's 20-11 with 9:57 to go. Graham on the offensive end now to Council right wing. 4:50 to play in the half. Black, top of the key, three-pointer good. Wow, the Hawks 4 of 4 from beyond the arc. 36-13 with 4:40 to go.
It is a tremendous run, 21-2 run right now. Killing them.
Dribbles right side, trying to take Justice Williams. Baseline Black. Anthony drives, kicks it to Devo on a cut. Back to Black in the corner, three ball good. Oh, that's some nice ball movement by the Razorbacks. Black with a tray. It's 53-26.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Orange Blossoms the song, Alyssa Orange the guest, pink was the color last night at Bud Walton Arena. It looked pretty sharp last night, Alyssa, on the court and in the stands. I really thought it was cool that the men's team did it. I'm used to seeing the women's team do a pink uniform or pink zone, every year. But I thought it looked good last night. I don't know if it's a thing they'll do every year, but maybe they ought to think about it.
Yeah, hey, I think they should keep wearing them until they lose. To be quite honest, they're going to keep playing like that in them, if you ask me, Phil.
Good point. You know how athletes are. Matt, would you go along with wearing the same uniform game by game if you kept winning in it, even if it was a color that might not be in your closet?
100%. I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious. But athletes, man, you look good, you play good, and you eat something one day pregame, you do something, lace your shoes up, you do it the same way the next time.
Alyssa, what was the energy in the building like yesterday? Grant talked about it in the first hour of the show, that it felt different because of more students in there than usual, and you didn't have the 19,000 that you might expect.
Yeah, I have to take Courtney Menz's word on it, and she said it was really fun. They were able to open it up to students to really sit kind of just around general admission because they just assumed not as many people were going to be at that game because of the weather. I had to be back in studio kind of manning it down. But from what I saw and from what Courtney said, she said it was electric. And, of course, you're feeding off the energy that the team is bringing. And from tip-off, it was loud. And that's what you want to see from a team and its fan base when they need it the most. I think this Arkansas team really needed that, to see that support despite the weather outside, that people are going to still come out and support them and cheer for them and be kind of that sixth man for them when they're trying to turn this around.
Four guys in double digits, and I can't say enough good things about Devo Davis. The defensive end and his last few games, just how good and his shot selection has been so much better these last couple. Like, none of his shots have a chance to get blocked. He's playing with confidence. How fun was he to watch yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you just mentioned whatever you're eating, you keep doing it if you're winning. That's Devo needs to keep eating whatever he's been eating before games from yesterday because of the way that he played. And I think that the biggest thing is his defense hasn't changed. He has played stellar defense in the SEC so far this season. He's actually shot and scored pretty well, but it's the mistakes that he makes that overshadows all of that stuff. And so the past couple of weeks, we've just been talking about mistakes that Devo has made that has been costly in games, and that really supersedes what he's doing well. Well, last night, he didn't make mistakes. And we were able to focus on, holy cow, look at how he is guarding Adam Miller. Look at how his shot selection is. Look at how much of a leader he is. I mean, there was that one time in the second half when LSU started to make that run, Devo called the timeout. I don't necessarily think Moss was very happy about it, but that's what you see from a leader who says, okay, this game's getting a little out of control. Let's call a timeout. Guys might be a little tired. Let's catch our breath. Let's go back out on a run, which is exactly what he did. And what we're seeing right now from Devo is the evolution of a leader, because this team really didn't have one. The guy that could lead this team has been sitting on a bench with a knee management. Hopefully we can see him here in the next couple of weeks. But what we're seeing from Devo Davis is what this team has lacked in leadership, and he's proven it on the court now. And if he can be that leader for this team down the stretch, they can turn this thing around and make a run.
I want to switch over to the women's team for a moment here because you got a 5-game stretch coming up here where, and we talk about getting the men's team on a roll. Mike Neighbors' team has an opportunity to get on a roll too. I mean, they got a couple of decent teams that are coming in here in Alabama and Ole Miss in the next 2, but they don't play LSU and South Carolina back-to-back again. They don't play South Carolina again. Good thing. I feel bad for any team that has to play the Gamecocks twice in a year. But judging on how they played against LSU, and I don't think they had much left for Carolina, I think this team is ready to go on a roll.
I think so, yeah. And I think when you look at the way that the schedule builds up, it's kind of very similar to the men. Get that stuff out of the way early. And now you look ahead to these last 9 games of the regular season. You have Alabama coming in and Ole Miss coming in, and those aren't cupcakes by any means. You can't just walk over these teams. We have seen the battles that Arkansas has had with Ole Miss specifically in the past. And so that game is going to be fun, and it's going to be a back-and-forth battle. But you have the opportunity coming off the way you played LSU and then what you've learned from South Carolina and how to win at a high level, which is rebounding. I think you take a lot of those lessons and you implement them and move forward. And this is an Arkansas team right now, guys, that is looking to see if they can be that number 3, number 4 team in the SEC. You've got LSU and South Carolina at the top. You've beaten Kentucky, and we've seen that Kentucky is struggling a little bit this season. Can you beat Tennessee down the road? Can you win these games? Yeah, and be the number 3 team in the conference.
It's not to put one game as this is the game or anything like that, but I'm looking at this. Game. Well, it is the game, honestly, because you got to beat somebody that you're not expected to beat when it comes right down to it. I mean, one thing that the women's team has done is they've beaten the teams that they should beat. They haven't beaten one of the teams that would be favored against them yet. And even though the Tennessee game is at Bud Walton Arena and it's in 3 weeks, I still feel like because it's Tennessee and they've got that, they've got the power T, and they have played well for the most part, especially in conference. I think if there were odds on that game, Tennessee would probably be favored. and I want to see Arkansas beat a team that is favored against them. I don't think it's happened quite yet. Maybe the Creighton game, but that's it.
Yeah, maybe that game. Maybe Kansas State, if we go back and look at that Kansas State game, just because Arkansas wasn't ranked yet. But, yeah, I mean, you had some good wins in the non-conference. You got to make that happen here in conference play at Tennessee. Kentucky was that one early on, but now we've seen how Kentucky has struggled, so it's not as strong as it was at the beginning of the season, though it was on the road. But now you got to come in here and you got to be able to take care of business against Alabama and Ole Miss. Just really play solid basketball the way that we've seen this team play. Rebound a little bit better, get better defensively, and then be able to beat a Tennessee team. And I think that Arkansas can leave its mark. But you got to be the fact that this team plays Tennessee at home is the biggest strength that they have in that game.
Alyssa, Pig Trail Nation covers everything involving the Arkansas Razorbacks. And so Friday night at Barnhill, it's gymnastics. Are you ready for what that's going to be like with LSU coming in and Olivia Dunn, who's like the most famous, and I think she makes the most money through NIL and social media of any female athlete in college sports right now. And I don't even think she's been on the floor because of an injury. And I know that LSU is traveling with their own security detail. This is going to be, I think it's going to be really wild.
That's the word for it, Phil, is wild, and it is going to be a sight to see for sure because of just the aura that Olivia Dunn has around her right now. And you're absolutely right. She isn't really performing because she's a little bit injured, but she's just got a following where people, it's like coming out, see your favorite actor or athlete. You're just going to go even if they're not playing so you can just see them in person. And then you've got an Arkansas gymnastics team that's performing really well. They haven't won an SEC meet yet, but they're continuing to get better. Obviously very impressed with Nora Flatley, who is the All-American that transferred in from UCLA. But they've got a lot of young names like Cammie Weaver and Lauren Williams, who is just up the road from Bentonville performing really, really well right now. If you can get Kennedy Hambrick to kind of come along a little bit more and perform the way that we have seen her perform. This is an Arkansas team that could try to have an upset, but they're just fun to watch in general. And gymnastics is so weird because, yes, you want to obviously beat the other team, but it's all about individual scores and markings and your own highs, and it's different a little bit in a competitive sense, but they are fun to watch.
All right, so a snow day, potentially. Do you play in the snow with the kids? Have they learned how to make a proper snowball yet? You got to be a good parent.
Some. Finn has. Finn's actually outside right now sledding with Saul. Belle's got a runny nose, so she kind of just got to touch snow a little bit. We've done a little bit more watching Coco Melon inside than anything else with her. But there's a hill. Our neighbor has a hill over here, and so they're doing some sledding over there. And it's all about the sledding technique at the moment.
Do you have a snow shovel? Have you shoveled snow before?
I personally, yeah. Growing up in Virginia, we had a lot of snow days. We do not currently have one, no. I don't think that there's one in the garage. Our neighbor, who's the one who has the hill just outside our neighborhood, has a little, I say bulldozer, but that's not what it is. A little thing, and he comes and he'll bulldoze the clear out the driveway for us.
So you realize,
nice.
If you worked in a northern market, and this would have been 15 or 20 years ago, you would have spent the entire morning helping answer phones and relay information about school closings, because that's what television news was all about in the mornings, at least where I grew up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I remember watching the ticker on the bottom of the screen to see if school was closed, right? And my dad worked in TV news growing up in Richmond, and he had to work some of those winter weather storms that we had.
It's a family business. I didn't realize that TV ran in the family.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. He was a director and technical director, and then went into the promotion side of television, but I grew up in a newsroom, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. We appreciate you hopping on with us, Alyssa. Thank you very
Always,
much. Stay
guys.
warm.
Thanks, Alyssa.
You too.
Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation giving us some of her time every Wednesday right about now. 877-377-6963 to get on halftime with us. We have an open segment coming up. Brought to you by CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers, the Russellville location right there at the Arkansas Avenue exit off of the interstate and up I-49 off the Weddington exit in Fayetteville. Best burgers, best fries, best shakes anywhere in the state of Arkansas. And when all you do are burgers, they have to be the best. I usually like to get the fry sauce, bacon, and either the grilled mushrooms or the grilled onions. I usually don't go both at the same time. That is the best in the state. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. They're online at butcherboyburger.com. Also got the app. You can order at the Fayetteville location on their app. Halftime back after a quick break.
Joe Klein here for Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
You bet it is, Joe, which means Bet Saracen has everything you're looking for and more right there on your cell phone.
Now everyone can get in the game and follow your favorite team.
And that's right on the money. If putting down a little wager makes your favorite game a little more exciting, we'll go to the app stores and download Bet Saracen. We even got a demo video to show you how to play.
Or find it at betsaracen.com.
I am not who you say I am.
I'm a pastor.
I am a caregiver.
I am a father.
I am a friend.
I'm a doctor.
Chances are someone you know and love is struggling with substance use disorder, but recovery is possible. Help starts when we stop stigma, view each other with compassion, and reach out for help. Call 1-800-622-HELP to get started. This message sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and supported by grant number 2018-AR-BX-K085 awarded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hey, this is Chad Warner, product manager for Booyah Bait Company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The hottest swim jig on the Arkansas River right now is the Booyah Mobster. It was designed by the Muddy Water Mob, a bunch of river rats from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it's winning tournaments on Dardanelle and Kerr like clockwork. If you're fishing submerged vegetation, water willow, lily pads, you need a Booyah Mobster to reel them in. Available at lurenet.com and tackle stores throughout Arkansas and Oklahoma, the Booyah Mobster.
Jimmy the Freak back out at Randall Ford 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. It is so good to be outside walking around in this fresh air. Okay, I'm just kidding about that. It's cold out here. Listen, if you're in the market, you're wanting to look at a vehicle, a new or pre-owned, you come by, we'll pull that bad boy up over on the side where you don't have to walk all over the lot. We'll show you any vehicle, truck, SUV, Bronco Sport, new Bronco, whatever you want to look at. We'll pull it around where you can actually stay warm and in the comforts of our beautifully remodeled showroom. Come by and see us. We want your business. Listen, I know other dealers make you a lot of promises. We just want to earn your business. Give us a chance. Come by and see me. Hey, I've been selling cars here at Randall Ford since March of last year. I want your business. I know the Randalls do too. So come by and see us at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drug Store has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company has two locations, 1316 South Zero and 200 South Zero Street in Fort Smith, serving the glass and glazing needs of Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma, commercial and residential. Tub and shower enclosures, mirrors, glass table, and countertops cut to custom size are just a few services offered by Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company. Arkansas Glass and Mirror stocks laminate glass, plexiglass, Lexan, window glass, and mirror and plate glass. For more information, call 646-4300. That's 646-4300.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
sound. When I hear lips make a sound. 30 notes in the mailbox will tell you that I'm coming home. And I think I'm gonna stick around for a while so you're not alone. For a while so you're not alone.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Our countdown to college baseball is 23 days until Arkansas opens up the season against Texas. I'm still trying to put together one thing I know and one thing I don't know for you throughout these next 3 weeks. 3 long weeks before we can finally get out there and watch the horsehide flew around. One thing I do know. I feel like the toughest stretch of the season is going to be April 6th through April 16th. That's when Arkansas has a stretch of 8 games in 10 days. You got a Thursday series that starts at Ole Miss, and then a Tuesday, Wednesday at home against Little Rock, and then you got Tennessee coming into town. So in order there, a road trip to play the defending national champions in a ballpark where Arkansas has not had success on a routine basis, then coming home to face an in-state opponent that actually does have a win against you in recent memory. I don't know how good Little Rock's going to be, but it's still a 2-game series. And so then you get the team that was number 1 like all of last year for what will be a highly anticipated series and probably incredibly intense too. 8 games in 10 days is a lot for a college baseball team. So pitching will be tested that 2-week stretch, probably more so than any other stretch before you get into the SEC tournament and the postseason. And just the caliber of teams that you're playing. And I think it's usually difficult, Matt, to point out, a 2-week stretch that really stands apart from some of the others because the SEC is so good every single year. I could have looked maybe to South Carolina and Vanderbilt at the end of the regular season. Both are going to be good this year, but you don't have any midweek games in May. At least for the last 3 weeks of the regular season in May because of finals, and Dave usually doesn't schedule midweek games then. So when I see a stretch of 8 games in 10 days, that reminds me a little bit of a minor league schedule with all the travel thrown in there, and then the teams are so darn good. By the time you get to that stretch, April 6th is when it starts. By then you've had I think it'll be 3 SEC series complete. So your starting rotation should be figured out. Your lineup usually is figured out by then, and there's just minor changes here and there. But it's not a make or break, but that's going to be the toughest stretch of the baseball season, I think. The thing I'm not too sure about, and this was something that Grant Hall brought up earlier, is team speed. Now, speed doesn't always equal good base running. It's like the conversation we had about Malik Hornsby as a quarterback and a runner. He's incredibly fast, right?
If you line up and race from goal line to goal line, yes, sir. But you're right. You got to know how to use it.
Yeah, he was not the most effective guy of evading tackles.
He needed reps, man. He came out of the chute full go, and then so people can get your angle on you. If you come out halfway, not halfway, but about 70%, you got that little extra burst to go away. He just a baby.
Yeah. Baseball is a sport they call it a quick twitch sport. And the base dealers, the really good base dealers, look, you can't be lead foot. Right. You can't be a lead foot. But you got to be quick twitch. You got to be that first step, those first 2 steps.
That crossover move. Oh, my goodness.
The full acceleration. That so often is the difference. It's like I was watching them work out last week, and they are working on the most subtle of things as far as base running is concerned, which was just practicing leading off of first base. Which, if you don't watch the game on a routine basis, you'd be like, well, all right, you're just leading off of first base. What do you got to do? Well, You got to get a good secondary jump if the ball is put into play. You got to know what the guy's pickoff throw looks like and not get fooled. And you got to also be able to get a good jump if this is going to be a team that, like Grant said, maybe tries to steal a few more bases. It's not about the speed. It's about the technique.
And this might be a dumb question, Phil, but is there a certain guideline when you're getting a lead? Because I played baseball up into the 9th grade, and I pretty much I could steal whenever I wanted to. And so I just I had a baseball coach, after 3 pitches, he was like, "What are you waiting on? Are you not going to steal second base yet?" So But do they have? Is it like 2 strides where you go, or what's the distance? Is it something you feel comfortable with, or is it a set number and like, hey, this is how far we get away from the bag to not get thrown off? But to get that, is there a sweet spot? I guess is what I'm asking.
I think it's different player by player. Normally, it's like 2 steps and then a long stride and a half, potentially. It's about a 4-foot lead sometimes. But you'll see, and this is where, like in the majors, with the rules change and you can only have the 2 pickoff throws, things change a little bit. You'll see base runners essentially test the pickoff move. And
they want to see a pickoff move. Yeah,
they'll get a sense of exactly how far they can get off of the base. And a lead off of first base is totally different than a lead off of second base. And a lead off of third base is a different thing too. So I don't necessarily know about the team's speed as far as who is really fast on this ball club. In fact, I think the team speed might be a little bit below the level of the year before. That does not mean that this can't be a very good base running team. First to third, that's not all speed. That's the ability to shorten the distance between first and third base and take and really it's
seeing the ball off bat. Yeah,
seeing the ball off the bat, knowing how to and where to touch the base when you get there. You know, the difference between being safe and out at third base sometimes could be like the way you kind of came around to touch the base before you headed towards third. It's not always speed. I think Tavian Josenberger might be the fastest player on the team. Whether that translates into stolen bases or not, I'm not sure. I do think it won't be as fast as the teams we saw last year. But on the other hand, I think they also might be a little more aggressive on the bases and test opponents in the field a little bit more too, which is fun to watch. I love watching base running. It's all the things that have to happen just like that. 2 snaps and you're done. That's what this is about.
First to third seems like change of field position in football. When they're talking about let's get 2 first downs before we have to do anything, we can change it. If you can get a runner from first to third, and he's just in automatic. I know second base is considered scoring position, but first to third, man, that's a big win right there.
Well, hopefully the Arkansas baseball team's a little more successful than football was in scoring in the quote-unquote red zone. Which red zone for baseball would be guys at second and third base.
Yeah.
Bring them in.
Got to get points on the board.
Get them on, get them over, get them in, and then keep getting them on and keep getting them in. We're going to wrap up hour number 2 of Halftime after a quick break.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters.
Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Thank you from Art's Barbecue and Burgers for a successful year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to shout out our amazing community of customers that we are grateful and thankful for, each and every one of you. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to continue to enjoy our best barbecue, burgers, all-you-can-eat catfish every Friday night, and of course, the great sides and desserts. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers on Rogers,
next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work. Real work. Working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresInc.com. That's Gray with an A.
Need to lose 100 pounds this year? Don't restrict your diet. Forget joining a gym. Instead, lose the weight of that cheating spouse of yours. At Mock Legal Solutions, there is no hourly billing. You pay one flat fee for your divorce. Call today, 479-769-1505. And let's be honest, it's closer to 200 pounds, right? Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
Van Alma Tire Center is always right around the corner from you with all the major brand tires for you to choose from. Bridgestone, Firestone, Cooper, and more. Turn into Van Alma Tire Center for all your tire needs, alignments, oil changes, brakes, and more. With service you can depend on, Van Alma Tire Center is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle and tire needs. Right around the corner at 6805 Alma Highway, 5 miles east of Van Buren and 2 miles west of Alma.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love. You never take advice. Someday you'll pay the price. I know. I've seen it before. It happens all the time. You're closing the door. You leave the world behind. You're digging for gold. You're throwing away a fortune and feelings. But someday you'll pay.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
There have been a lot of dunks in the history of college basketball. Maybe the most famous dunk, certainly one of the more famous dunks, occurred 35 years ago today. But this might be the most famous call of a dunk in college basketball history.
Ahead, Lane's on the other wing. He finds. Yeah! Send it in, Jerome!
Bill Raftery with Send It In Jerome for Jerome Lane of the Pitt Panthers. This was 1987. That this thing went down. And the pass came from none other than Sean Miller, current Xavier head coach, former Arizona head coach. I have a friend who sent me a photo because we all celebrate this back in Pittsburgh where I grew up. A lot of college basketball fans celebrate this just because it's pretty rare to see somebody shatter the glass on a backboard.
Out of control. It's spectacular dunk.
My friend sent me the picture. He's got the T-shirt that says "Send it in, Jerome." I had another friend who was the ball boy at that game, and his father was a major fundraiser for Pitt. The kid, my friend, picked up a large chunk of glass from the backboard, and his dad turned it into a ring for mom. They were that kind of college basketball fan. Yeah, turned it into a ring for mom, made it look like a diamond.
Well, that Big East basketball in the 80s is just nostalgic to say the least. I mean, you tune in and see that was when basketball was. I mean, they all stayed 3 years. You got to know the players. You kind of felt like you built a relationship with them. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, and there was a certain style to Big East basketball back then too. It was tough,
physical,
always. Jerome Lane too. I think he led the nation in rebounds one year. He was like a poor man's Charles Barkley, 6'6",
like a Larry Johnson kind of. Well, Larry's a little bigger, but like that style of player, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, what are they? Barkley was listed at 6'6". The theory was he was probably not 6'6", but Lane, I guess, was the same idea. We had a guy that would average a double-double over his career. I think he averaged 14 or 15 rebounds per game one season. First-round pick of the Nuggets, hung around in the NBA for like 4 or 5 years and didn't last because, honestly, there's only one Charles Barkley.
Well, and you got to be a pterodactyl nowadays to play NBA basketball. If you're not 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to get on the floor. You got to be really skilled at other things. As far as one side of the ball, whether it be passing, whether it be defense, but basketball, they're growing them bigger, stronger, faster. That's for sure.
And Raftery is still doing it, and he's still entertaining, and he can still scream onions whenever he wants to.
Give him the sauce.
Hour number 3 of halftime coming up in just a moment. We'll be joined by the king of college football talk, Bill King, at 1:15, digging into, what's going on in the Alabama coaching staff. Right now they got no coordinators. And when we come back, you saw Josh Heupel has gotten a $4 million raise. Well, he took Tennessee to their best season in like 20 years. Also, time for a call or a text if you want, 877-377-6963. We'll be right back with more halftime.
Crane Used Cars on 71 South. It's a new year, and Joe Pulliam, dealer-operator, has bigger and better deals for 2023. Like up to $2,023 more for your trade. That's right, up to $2,023 over Black Book. With a great selection of certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, all backed by the Crane Commitment. 100-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Joe knows customer service with a 5-star rated service before and after the sale. So come see Joe at the Crane Used Car Supercenter, 8200 Highway 71 South, Fort Smith.
When you need a plumber, call the name you know and trust. Ashley Air. The same great people that take care of your heating and cooling system can also meet your plumbing needs. Right now, take $50 off any plumbing repair or get a $129 drain cleaning plus a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Restrictions apply. If you have clogged drains, Ashley Air is the one to call. Go to ashley.air.com to schedule your plumbing service. That's ashley.air.com. Proud sponsors of Razorback Athletics.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Yeager's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these great deals at any of our 4 locations. Buy 3, get 1 free Ace pleated air filters. 10-pack bird suet or 5-pound black oil sunflower seed, $8.99 each. And check out our everyday low prices on all heaters. Find more everyday low prices online at YeagersHardware.com. Yeager's Ace Hardware, offering real service with real savings.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, Tin Layer Dip, Brisket Nachos, and Mexican Pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we may be dealing with some slippery road conditions to start. Otherwise, cloudy skies. It'll be drier today, upper 30s to lower 40s. Cloudy skies tonight. Overnight low will drop down low 20s north, upper 20s south. And sunshine highs mid-30s north on Thursday, low 40s south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Carco Auto Sales. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromcarco.com.
From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith.
Are you sure this is legal? I don't know. It's fun though, isn't it?
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold your roll, hold your roll, hold your roll. I'm putting my heart up. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones. Hold your roll, hold your roll. On three. 1, 2, 3. Turn that down, Drew
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
And into the third hour of halftime here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. I just learned that while we were dealing with snow in Arkansas, that 8 hours ago, apparently there was an earthquake in Los Angeles. Magnitude of 4.2 on the Richter scale, and some aftershocks afterwards. I guess that's when aftershocks happen. Never been in an earthquake before. Either of you guys?
I've not been in an earthquake.
Never an earthquake. I was surprised to find out, though, that Matt Jones was in a tornado when he was in 7th grade.
The tornado that came to hit Fort Smith and Van Buren, yeah.
I wanted to know more details about it, so can I just go ahead and
ask? Yes, sir.
Were you in your house at the time this happened?
I was in bed. It was the night before school. I had on my No Fear gray T-shirt with the eyes right there that said No Fear, you know? Yeah, I was rocking it the day before my birthday, and the tornado came through, and the bookshelf falls right on my legs, and I'm thinking, I just pulled the covers up and went back to sleep.
Wow, so that No Fear T-shirt actually helped you out, didn't it?
It wasn't just a clever branding,
right?
A marketing ploy. It was really
yeah.
I've not. I wouldn't say like I've been in or tornado, but I certainly have seen them. I've seen them before.
Yeah, I've seen them too, but never like been in my house and had the roof ripped off.
I mean, everybody that lived around it totaled the whole house. My house, my room is right next to the garage. You could just see the see through.
Was this at the same time that like in downtown Fort Smith, some buildings were?
It was in '96.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Of course, our state's been dealing with tornadoes, and the havoc that they can wreak for forever here. The snow thing is, I wouldn't say like it's new. I mean, we've all been through, I think, ice storms across the state. There was one in 2009. There was one just before I moved to Arkansas in 2000, which took like 2 weeks to dig out of and rebuild from. So what happened yesterday, that was just the fun stuff. Earthquake, like if I were to pick one thing that I just wouldn't know what to do, and I know I'm like supposed to go under in a hallway jam or go into a closet and something like that. That's one thing that would make me freeze.
Okay, yeah.
You're not supposed to go outside? Like you want to go in somewhere? Isn't everything just going to fall on top of you?
Maybe I was just thinking about what I'm supposed to do in a tornado. See, I have no idea.
I don't know either. I just, to me, if it's all crumbling down, why do I want to? I just feel like it would all come down on top of me. But maybe same thing with the tornado. You would think it would all come down on top of you too.
You guys know I've told you about it. I've had these recurring nightmares for probably like the last 30 years of driving off of an interstate bridge or off of a mountain or something.
Yeah.
Like when I used to live before I moved to Arkansas, I lived in Stockton, California, which is about an hour and a half east of the San Francisco Bay. So we'd go to San Francisco to go have fun because there really wasn't a lot of fun in Stockton. But every single time I'd go over the Bay Bridge, I mean every time, especially going west into the city of San Francisco. You know, once you go over to the Treasure Island portion of the bridge and then the rest of it that takes into the city, I was like white knuckle driving the entire time, thinking this is when the earthquake's going to hit. This is when it's going to happen. And it was probably because I will never forget the 89 earthquake during the World Series, in which the top of a piece of that Bay Bridge fell on top of the bottom of it, and I just couldn't stop thinking about that, man. Scott says get outside in an earthquake.
There we go. Yeah.
Scott, I will listen to you because sooner or later the big one's going to hit.
Yeah, also don't be on a bridge. That's another good advice.
It's very good advice. Good luck with that if you're driving around in the Bay Area.
Part of that nightmare, I'm guessing, also involves you go over the bridge and then you're trapped in your car trying to get out as the water fills up.
No, you got to start.
That's what my recurring nightmare is.
Wouldn't you try to roll your window down as you're falling, like going down? You try to hit the down button.
Yeah, that works really great with power windows now in every car.
Now, you remember there were two movies. There were two movies from, I think, the first Superman with Christopher Reeves and the Bond movie where Christopher Walken was the bad guy. Which one was that? A View to a Kill, where the bad guys, Lex Luthor and Zorin, that was Christopher Walken's character, their dastardly plan involved setting off a giant earthquake in California and kind of sending it out into the sea. So it's not necessarily a place I feel like living ever again. Sterling's with us here. Sterling, how are you doing? You're here to brag about weekend winnings, aren't you? Or are you here to tell us you're going to win big this next weekend? And oh, by the way, thank you very much for winning Zach some money, because I heard him talking about that. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So maybe I need to start listening to you too, because you never lose.
Well, I got split. I got split last night at Arkansas and Iowa State. So in my last 42 plays, I'm 37-5. In my last 41 plays, it's not bad for a rank amateur.
Do you ever take any of the specials that they put out, that Bet Sarazen puts out for the Razorback games? Like the one I saw yesterday that I thought was interesting, and it didn't come to pass, was, what was it, plus 600, 2 3-pointers by Council, Devo, and I can't remember who the third one was. But anyway, that was the one special that kind of piqued my interest.
Maybe Jordan Walsh, I think. Yeah.
I think it was Walsh. That's who it was. You're right. Do you ever put any money on those, or do you just go by like the betting line, the money line? How do you decide what you're doing on the Razorback games?
I really don't fool with props very, very often. I'd be tempted to, but I'm going to squirmish on those. I'm definitely not going to mess with the Razorbacks on no 3-point shooting.
Maybe that was my mistake. Yeah, just stay away from anything involving threes, unless it's about nobody's going to hit a three, because maybe that'll happen again.
But I will tell you this. I do follow a lot of trends, and I do often bet against what I think should happen. If I feel like something ought to be a certain way, and I feel like the line is off, which normally you would think that, oh, that's too good to be true. That's my number. That's what I want. I would go the opposite.
You go the opposite George route, don't you? It's the opposite Sterling. We could have a whole, episode built around that.
Tuna on rye. Yeah.
It's not going to work like that this weekend. But let's say the line was like, if you saw that either one of these teams, Cincinnati or Kansas City, was favored by a touchdown.
I'm surprised Cincinnati's favored. So that's what you're saying.
Right. If you're really surprised by that, if you think that's something that shouldn't be that way, well, you need to take Cincinnati. If you really feel in your heart of hearts that, man, this line, that's ridiculous.
Kansas City at home, yeah.
That's all surrounding the simple idea that Patrick Mahomes has 1 foot to play on. That's what that's got to be about.
Yeah, that's some of it. And they have beat him 3 times when he had 2 good ankles in a row, so. They
have the trend says the trend is that they've won the last 3. You're right, yeah. But what about Cincinnati not having 3 starting offensive linemen?
Well, they had a bad offensive line last season, and they made it to the Super Bowl.
That's
And
true.
they got sacked. He got sacked 7 or 8 times in that game against Tennessee, and they won the game. And they went in with 3, and they went in a 6-point dog, 3 backup linemen, and they ran all over and totally dominated what most people thought most of the season was the best team in football. So
Well, and Tannehill also threw it to Cincinnati, 3 times in that game, and still hasn't gotten over it. I mean, that has nothing to do with the Cincinnati offensive line. But point taken, you're right. I mean, Burrow was on his butt almost the entire season last year. They still got to the Super Bowl. So who cares if they're down 3 offensive linemen the next year? It's a good point.
But what I called about, and you may disagree with me on this. Now, listen, you know I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, but I'm not a blind loyalist. You know, I try to tell the truth. I try to say it like it is and be objective. And Lord knows I love Scott Rowland. We're the same age. He played for my beloved Cardinals. When we got him from Philly, I thought we got a steal, and he hit a big home run in Game 7 of the NLCS. And I love Scott Rowland. And I'm saying all this to say, how in the heck is he in the Hall of Fame? I mean, to me, the Hall of Fame is for the greats of the game. It's not for the very good of the game. You know, I mean, and how can you put him in and not put in Jeff Kent? Now, I don't think Jeff Kent's a Hall of Famer. But if Scott Rhodes is a Hall of Famer, Jeff Kent's a Hall of Famer.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think Rowland was light years better than Kent as far as in the field and played a position that I don't want to discount second base, but I'll discount second base for a quick moment here. Third base is going to be a position that's viewed as tougher to play. But here's the other aspect of this, too. You haven't had a lot of third basemen get in of late. I think over the last, 20 years or so, there's only 2 of them that have gotten in. Chipper Jones is one, and Rowland might be the other. Look, I don't view Scott. Look, he's not Brooks Robinson. He's not George Brett. He's not Mike Schmidt. He's not Chipper Jones. I agree. I mean, it's a little. I think some of it has to do with who else was on the ballot. This was just an underwhelming year because the guys that were the best players here were all under either the suspicion of performance-enhancing drugs or they tested positive and sat out a year, like A-Rod. You know. So I agree with you. I got asked that by a friend earlier today. Is Scott Rowland a Hall of Famer? My answer was, I guess. I just wanted to see somebody go in because to have another year without somebody being inducted would be terrible for the game. It's just bad. It's just bad for the sport.
And one more thing on steroid guys, how in the heck can you put in David Ortiz and not put in the rest of the guys? His name was on the report just like all the rest of them.
Well, because he was a good quote. Because he was great to the writers. Those are the people that are voting.
Because he was touching on the baseball field.
Yes, that's exactly right. Because the writers enjoyed him, they loved his personality. I think that's what it's about. Barry Bonds might have had trouble. You know, let's take away the idea. Let's say the Bonds didn't take PEDs. Okay, let's say that, and he still had the sort of career that he had. He still wouldn't have gotten 100% because the writers hated him. They hated him. So you have to remember who's doing the voting here.
And that's just ridiculous. Everybody got. I mean, if that's why they vote, they need to take it away from them. I mean, like I said, I love Scott Rowland. Saw him play every day and a great fielding baseman. I mean, one of the best. But a Hall of Famer. You know, I mean, to me, if somebody say this guy, you shouldn't have to think about it. If you got to think about is he a Hall of Famer, then he's not a Hall of Famer in my book. Should be no doubt about it. But I guess if you want to have a ceremony every year, I guess you got to put some people in. Yeah, I would start with the steroid guys if you're having trouble getting guys in. But thanks for taking my call, and y'all guys are doing a great job. Y'all having a wonderful day. Hey, and Matty T, he's a bad man. Y'all have a great day.
Got that right. He's the baddest of the bad. Well, Sterling is usually a winner, and if you want to be a winner on anything involving sports in the state of Arkansas, Bet Saracen is the sports betting app that you need to have on your phone because you look at the odds on all the other national sites. Like, for instance, I go to ESPN.com. You look at the odds. They're using odds from Caesars Sportsbook. The odds on Bet Saracen can be different, especially when it involves Arkansas games, because you get people that are actually paying attention to the Razorbacks inside the state of Arkansas once they start putting their money on it. And you can't even put money on the Vegas lines because the big national books can't operate inside the state of Arkansas thanks to our state laws. So, for the most accurate and up-to-date sports wagering information, be on the Bet Saracen app. Works on Apple iPhone, any of the Google Android phones too, and any web browser at betsaracen.com. We are talking college football with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio after this break.
Mr. Doubt, the old man, was a surveyor of frosted flake wood. He tried to sell hesitation.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes
$9 an hour. Sundays are paid at time and a half, and night shift work has an added premium of $1 per hour. Applications are available 24/7 at Beckert, located off I-40 at Exit 3. Apply today.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
I rode my bicycle past your window last night. I roller skated to your door would get together and try them out, you see. I've been looking around a while. You got something for me? Oh, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio is the king of college football talk, and we appreciate his time on these Wednesdays, right around the same time as usual. Bill, how you doing today?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Well, we got a raise for Josh Heupel. His salary's up. $4 million raise up to $9 million a year. Ties him with Lane Kiffin with the fifth highest salary for next season. You just sort of expected this was going to happen. It was a raise that came after Shane Beamer got his raise. Thoughts on Josh Heupel and lasting power there at Tennessee?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. He's been mentioned for jobs. Now, some of that might be just floated out there, but you got to get him up to the number. And not only that, but the future looks bright. This kid they're bringing in, this Nico Iamaleava, is, I'm telling you, a better prospect, maybe significantly, than Hendon Hooker.
No kidding. No, you just got to get him to.
He's Matt Jones' height. He's 6'6". Now, he's about 190. He looks like he weighs 150. So that's a problem, but this kid is spectacular.
They'll
once
get him.
He gets going.
Yeah, they'll get him in the mess hall, and he'll be eating a little bit. I'm a Josh Heupel fan. Do you think it's that they could have kept him without giving him this money this year?
Oh, this year they could have, but probably not.
Just show some good faith. Like Heupel's probably here for the long haul. He's going to be here next 5-6 years.
I would think so. You know, he quarterbacked Oklahoma, and then he was on that staff for a while. But
he was
got
right
fired.
before. Yeah, I remember him. He was right when I was about coming out. He was just finishing up at Oklahoma, so I remember back when he was playing. Yeah.
So if things did not work out for, that current staff there, Coach Venables, et cetera, I don't know that he'd go back. Now it was Stoops that fired him. Different folks there, but I don't know that he would go back. But hey, if he continues to be successful the way they play offense, who knows?
There was other news involving coordinators in the SEC. Alabama right now does not have an offensive or defensive coordinator, but still have the top incoming class, which, I guess makes sense because it's Alabama. Bill O'Brien no longer there. I know the fan base really kind of, had it out for him and for Golding this last year. What did you think of Bill O'Brien as an offensive coordinator over his tenure at Alabama? And do you think he's better suited for the pro game than he is for college?
Oh, probably. I think that would also probably be his preference. He did a solid job, man. And look, what Alabama ran into this year is the offensive line, last 2 years, actually. Offensive line's not been as good as they're used to it being. They're not special at running back. Now, the Jahmyr Gibbs kid was a good addition, but he wasn't physical. And an Alabama back needs to be physical, too. It's okay if you've got all that speed like he had, and he showed it, but you also need to be physical, and that's not what he did well. So there was a step back there. There was an obvious, monstrous step back at wide receiver. And I think he'd done his time there, probably looking to get back. And here's the thing about Nick. Nick will not rush. We could get into February before they do anything. I mean, they may announce something next week, but he's not going to rush it. He doesn't need to rush it because it's his program. People are going there because of him, and whatever he does at coordinator, as far as recruiting is involved, won't matter.
Let me look at recruiting here for a moment involving Colorado. I know they've got this great transfer class coming in. What about how they've recruited high schools? Or is Colorado right now basically just a transfer portal destination for Deion? I know that he can recruit the high schools in the future, but for this next year, is this mostly a transfer portal team?
It's probably based on that mostly. They were 1-11. They're god-awful, right? And it's going to take a lot. They just flipped a kid in recruiting from Miami, a big-name player. But, yeah, I think the patchwork initially is going to be done through the portal, and then he'll be recruiting. Now, look, he'll try and go head-to-head with anybody out there, any city, any state. I don't know what kind of money their collective has had historically, and we only have, a little over a year, 2 years of sampling on this, but I don't think that collective is where it needs to be to compete with the big boys yet.
Have you seen his boy play quarterback? Do you think he can get it done? I haven't watched him play. That's why I'm asking. Do you think he can play at a Power 5 school?
I think so. I don't know. Now, taking it to another level, is he some kind of prospect? I think that's unclear.
Yeah.
Because of the competition they're playing. I mean, they let him chuck it all over the place. Obviously, they're going to be quarterback-centric with him. But I don't think we know yet what kind of prospect he is. I would be, let me say, at the moment, I would be skeptical there.
So you're saying it might be unfair to call him one of the top 10 quarterbacks in college football right now? Because I've seen him on some of those lists. It's like, well,
he's a coach's son, so he's going to understand it a little bit. I think. I just wonder if his talent, does he go to the Manning passing camp? Does he work there? Like, is he considered one of the elites? I just haven't seen him play.
I don't think we're there yet with him. Now, depends on how you ask. If you had Dion on right now, I'm sure you get a 180-degree difference.
That's like asking LeBron about his baby boy, too. He's like, Bronny can go play anywhere. Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, what happened? I mean, not necessarily what happened. I mean, Georgia has brought in a couple of big-time wide receivers out of the portal. They got Dominic Lovett from Mizzou, and then Ra Thomas transfers from Mississippi State, where he was the leading receiver. I think he went into the portal. I mean, I think that was before Leach passed away, and
Correct.
now he's been charged a felony for essentially false imprisonment. What I read was that he, allegedly kept somebody inside a locked dorm room. So, I mean, it's been an interesting few weeks here for Georgia since the championship. You know, you had the tragic death of one of their players and the young lady that was part of the recruiting staff, and now this too. So, they haven't necessarily just been able to bask in the glory of a second national title.
Yeah, Ra Thomas was arrested early Monday morning, bonded out after lunch at some point, maybe 2 o'clock-ish on Monday. And here's what I guess is going on. Georgia's probably vetting this just to make sure the police report is accurate, getting, various angles on the story, and then I would assume they'll let him go.
Is Georgia keeping both their coordinators? I saw somewhere where maybe their OC was getting a little mention for some of these NFL jobs. Do you think they retain both coordinators this year?
Yes. Now here's the caveat. Monken, who is making $2+ million as the offensive coordinator, is very attractive. I don't know if this is the go-around. I'd be shocked if he's there after this next year. He's going to get a lot of overtures, and he's got NFL background history too. So there's not a limitation with him.
He was a coach when I was at Jacksonville. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then Coach Schumann is a young, hotshot co-defensive coordinator with Will Muschamp. He's only 32 years of age. There's some talk about him with Alabama, along with the Jeremy Pruitt and Todd Grantham and names like that. But that kid, if we're going to call him 32 years old, in that world he is a kid, is a phenomenal young defensive talent that's not going to be there long either. I think they last this year, but that's probably it.
You think Pruitt's a real candidate? What's he been doing since Tennessee blew up?
Podcast with people like Mike Griffith, and he also plays. Did we talk about this? He plays competitive poker. He travels, and I don't know how often he does it. Yeah, and they say he's actually pretty good, but I think he's just living the life right now, waiting for him to be less radioactive. I tell you what. Let me give you the Jeremy Pruitt Alabama situation. One day I'm hearing that it's close. It's all but done. It's been cleared. Everybody's good. And the next day I hear back off a little bit. Not sure. I'm not That thing goes hot and cold, literally, guys, every day. The bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, if they hire him, I'm not going to be shocked. If they hired him, but they don't really label him as a coordinator, I wouldn't be shocked either. But that one hasn't died yet.
Is there anyone on the offensive side for a coordinator for Alabama that sticks out to you right now as a possible candidate? And you think Saban's are? I mean, the going thought was neither of the coordinators was going to stick around, and they would just get an opportunity to go find a job somewhere else. And that's what happened. Golding goes to Ole Miss. O'Brien's, back in the NFL working for Belichick now at New England. So there's been plenty of time for Saban to zero in on who he wants on both sides here. Who do you think could be a candidate on the offensive coordinator position for them?
Here's some names that are being thrown out, and I've talked to people too. Jeff Lebby, now at Oklahoma, year one there. He was at Ole Miss before. He's got a Josh Heupel background too. He's in there. Joe Brady, wonder kid in 2019 at LSU, now with the Bills. Don't know that he'd come back to college, but his name's being mentioned. Another Coach Tierney, who is in the NFL, who was an analyst at Alabama about 5 years ago. Very young guy. He may be 30-ish at best. And Greg Roman's name has been mentioned. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but that's a working. I'm probably Charlie Weiss Jr., who's at Ole Miss. His name's been mentioned. It's kind of your obligatory list, right, guys? I mean, you probably see those names several places.
Well, I like that Dan Enos hire at Arkansas because I think he's an OC. Yep. I don't think you're going to see him on any lists like that. And I think he's I like it.
It's a good hire. Yeah, last week we didn't really know what was going on yet, but that was a good hire for them. I think that one's going to pacify all concerned.
It's going to be good for KJ to get some new concepts coming in, get in the classroom, and see how fast he picks it up. And I really do believe it'll be good for him, yeah.
Bill, we've got, I think, what was my countdown at? 23 days until college baseball begins. And I know you're a big college baseball guy. Do some of the talk on your morning show on WNSR. Is this going to be a bounce-back year for Vanderbilt? You're expecting big things out of them?
Yeah, they were down. Pitching overall, hitting overall last year. They weren't a very good hitting team. Enrique Bradford, their leadoff guy, probably the best leadoff guy in baseball, college baseball. But after that, they weren't doing much. I don't know that I think they're as good as LSU with Paul Skeens and Tommy Tanks, those additions to that roster. And Tennessee, I think, just reloading. They lost a ton of players, but they're reloading. Got to remember, Tennessee's got their 3 starting pitchers back. Their 3 ace pitchers, well, out of 4. One of them got drafted high. They're in good shape. Matter of fact, Chase Golander, some are saying at Tennessee, is the best pitcher they've seen in about 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
talking about him as a potential overall first pick, or Dylan Cruz out of LSU. Either
Correct.
way, you know it's going to be a great year of SEC baseball, as it always is. And we'll get into that with you once the season starts. Well, otherwise, we'll stick with college football with you. Bill, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Very much.
Bill King, college football, the king of college football talk, and the prince of college baseball talk, too. Hey, when the Razorbacks are back on television, and that would be tomorrow night, women's ball plays Alabama at Bud Walton Arena. Watch the game at Joe's Grilling Cantina. They'll have it on, and they'll have half-price apps and half-price taps all throughout the day. In fact, that's what they got going on right now. Their specials all throughout the day. On Wednesdays, half-price apps and half-price taps. It's Joe's Grilling Cantina, where you can watch sports and enjoy yourself. They're at 3400 South 74th in Fort Smith, across from Harps, open Tuesday through Saturday. joesportsmith.com and the Waiter app to put it in order. You want to call halftime? 877-377-6963 is our number. We'll come back, and we're in the home stretch after this.
While most of us are familiar with the opioid epidemic, we forget about the threat we faced for decades, methamphetamine. Meth is our biggest drug threat, and the number of people...
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Basketball and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
To the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat me a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. Peaches come from a can, they were put there by a man in a factory downtown. And if I had my little way, I'd eat peaches every day. Sun-soaking bulges in the shade.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
looking at the list of SEC coaches and what they make. Football, didn't say SEC. There's a lot of sports in this conference. Sam Pittman is in a tie for 12th with Eli Drinkwitz at $6 million for this upcoming season. Shane Beamer got the raise to 6.2 for this next year. Hugh Freeze was signed by Auburn for $6.5 million for his first year. Billy Napier's at 7.2. Mark Stoops at 8.6. Heupel and Kiffin, $9 million. Brian Kelly and Jimbo both making $9.5. When did they get differing results for that money? Kirby Smart, 11.2. Nick Saban, $11.7 million, which puts Saban ahead, and Kirby Smart too, ahead of most NFL coaches. There are only 6 NFL head coaches that make more than Saban and Smart. Belichick is making $20 million this next year.
Are they ever going to cap it? You think you could see college the way it goes where it's like, hey, man, $10 million is the most you can pay? No, they will never do it. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't really. Again, the only way that you can cap somebody's earnings is if it's collectively bargained.
Well, because in the NBA, the have max contracts. That's kind of what I'm saying. Or is this a max deal? Look, man, this is what we're paying. If you want to be, I mean, this is the most we're going to pay coaches.
Yeah, but that was agreed upon by the Players Association and the league. It's the same with Major League Baseball and the NFL. All of those things, the NHL, they're all collectively bargained. That's how you can, cap salaries or cap a pool of salaries team by team and impose penalties for paying more. It's all agreed upon, until the American Football Coaches Association makes an agreement with the chancellors that run the schools in the NCAA. It's a free-for-all and it's not about, look, I mean, Saban's making 11.7 now. Let's just say, if he's still coaching in 7 years, and by that time, there's been a new contract negotiated for the college football playoff. There are 2 new teams in the SEC, so the league is making more money. College football overall is making more money. The athletic departments are bringing more in, so the coaches' salaries go up. They just do. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
10 mil's nice, huh? 10 mil a year to be a coach. That's pretty cool.
I would be just perfectly happy with 5 zeros at the end of my salary. I really would. We're pretty simple folks around here, right?
Simple T-shirt type of guy.
If you really wanted to put another 0 at the end of it without a period in front, then I'd be perfectly fine with that too. And I would just take that for the rest of my life, yeah. But, when you get 1 million, chances are you probably want 1.5 based upon, what some other radio host is making. That's what this is. That seems to be what this is about.
Well, they're all competitors. I mean, all these coaches, and it's their nature. It's the business. You want to compete in different ways you can, and that's just one way to compete.
So Belichick's making $20 million. Pete Carroll's at 15. Sean McVay. And how long has McVay been the coach at the Rams? Is it 3 years, 4 years tops?
Yeah, he's not 40, is he? Is he 41 or something? He's young.
It also sounds like he had to either be convinced to come back or, might not be long for being an NFL head coach because you can only burn so bright. Although I thought McVay is, engaging and great to listen to, and he talks about football. I mean, that's going to be
you got to decompress sometime. It's hard to just keep it going.
Well, yeah. I think he's a TV analyst at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the guys that. So Brady's
he's not going to Thailand
analyst.
with your boy
with Kingsbury.
Yeah, Kingsbury. That's the guy. He figured it out right there.
Kingsbury would be like the perfect example of the next reclamation project for Nick Saban and Alabama.
Go be the OC. They need an OC, right? Oh my goodness.
Maybe just be an analyst and then maybe an OC and then you end up as a head coach somewhere. I mean, it worked for Sark. It worked for Lane Kiffin.
Bill O'Brien, I mean, he's been all over. He's a head coach for the Texans, head coach at Penn State. He's had
what was it, 2 or 3 years at Penn State, and then leaves for the Texans. And
big time jobs though. You look around what his station to station.
Well, maybe he's the next man once Belichick decides that he's going to hang it up. You got to keep raising Belichick, though, too. Although $20 million, goodness gracious.
Golly.
Look, I mean, the other aspect of this is like these owners have the money. They all have the money to do that. it's funny to see this too, because in Major League Baseball, managers' salaries have dropped because they're not viewed as important.
As on game, in game, it's more reading analytics and following trends. But I disagree with that, man. I think a good manager can help a team more than you think.
I agree. And I think some of these analytics will either change or they won't be paying as close of attention to some of those analytics because the game's changing with the rules changes right now.
It's like that Philly OC that ran down there and said, I know what I'm doing. You know, when they got mad at him, they calling that timeout right there, acting like they were going to go for it on that 2-point conversion or whatever. That was funny.
I can't remember who's the highest paid manager in baseball. I think it would be Dave Roberts with the Dodgers. I think he's making like maybe $7 million. So, I mean, you look at almost every coach, well, not every coach, but like over half of the SEC football coaches are making more than the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball. And like baseball is not as popular as it was before, but those teams are swimming in money, literally swimming in money. Has nothing to do with attendance, has nothing to do with national television ratings. They are swimming in money. They just don't view managers as important as they used to.
It's not TV contracts and all that. I mean, I thought that was big. Those regional TV deals.
Well, they're just going to pay for the rights for it anyway, and the regional TV deals are also part of it. But Major League Baseball was ahead of all the other leagues in terms of putting their games online.
Yeah, and
the technology that went into it. I mean, they just sold, I think, the rest of the technological company that they owned of getting, like initially they licensed out that technology. Like when HBO and Disney, I think, first went on the internet to stream shows, they were using technology from Major League Baseball. They had to pay for it. So that's how and it's all distributed equally amongst the Major League teams. So that's why you can look at a team like, all right, the team that I love to hate love, the Pirates. So they don't have a ton of people coming out to their games. They're making millions of dollars every year. Not the same amount of money as the Yankees, not the same amount of money as the Cardinals, but they're still making millions of dollars without even opening the gates. Pay up, buddy, pay up.
And I thought baseball, you got way more home games, and then you get the parking, you get all those rights. You would think it would be more of that. They could make a lot more money that way too.
They do. I think they swim in it, but I think the technology that they sold is a major reason why. All right, we got to take a break. Halftime concludes after this.
You don't have to wait, sit there for days and vegetate. I access my email, read all my spam. I'm an analog man. The whole world's living in a digital dream. It's not really there, it's all on the screen. Makes me forget who I am. I'm an analog man. Yeah, I'm an analog man in a digital world. I'm gonna get me an analog girl who loves me for what I am. I'm an analog man.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Like beer.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Anheuser-Busch, Busch & Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Thank you from Art's Barbecue and Burgers for a successful year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to shout out our amazing community of customers that we are grateful and thankful for, each and every one of you. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to continue to enjoy our best barbecue, burgers, all-you-can-eat catfish every Friday night, and of course, the great sides and desserts. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers on Rogers,
next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work, real work, working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company has two locations, 1316 South Zero and 200 South Zero Street in Fort Smith, serving the glass and glazing needs of Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma, commercial and residential. Tub and shower enclosures, mirrors, glass table, and countertops cut to custom size are just a few services offered by Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company. Arkansas Glass and Mirror stocks laminate glass, plexiglass, Lexan, window glass, and mirror and plate glass. For more information, call 646-4300. That's 646-4300.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come Get You Some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Let me run with you tonight. I'll take you on a moonlight ride. There's someone I used to see, but she don't give a damn for me. But let me get to the point. Let's roll another joint and turn the radio loud. I'm too alone to be proud, and you don't know how it feels. You don't know how it feels to be me.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Did you see the photo that Ty had worked on about our podcast network? He's got you, Matt Jones, me, and Chuck Barrett there on the photo, trying to promote our podcast network. And it makes me realize this looks like, a bald guy's podcast. It really does. You and Chuck still go with...
It's like a band. It's any four white guys. You know,
Three bald guys.
Have you heard
in a
this new
podcast.
band? Yeah.
Yeah, 3 bald dudes and a podcast. I think that works really well. Sooner or later, I'm just going to have to go the direction that you and Chuck go and just take it all off.
I'm telling you, get the lady razor, and that's it. In the shower, bam, 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 just perfect. Yeah.
I keep getting odds for all of these kind of. You remember those Norelco? Where they still sell them, where it's like the 3 rotating heads.
Yeah.
You know, you put
that's
in your
what
face,
you use.
You can barely even feel it. Maybe that's the thing that I'm supposed to use on my head. 'Cause I'm just nervous about getting nicked up on my head. Like there's one thing about happening on the face because I've been used to it.
The guard they have on it, it won't happen. You don't even got to get shaving cream for it. You just bam, bam, bam every 3-4 days.
I definitely need to. I need to work on my hairstyling. Yeah, you and Chuck have me beat as far as lack of hairstyling. Zach and Paragould. What?
Chuck got the hair rollers when you left. When you left the Christmas party.
Is anybody in our company use hair rollers?
That was
anybody
funny.
who's got? Yeah, it's good stuff there. Zach and Paragould asked, so which head coach or manager is more important in their sport, football, basketball, or baseball? It's a tough question. I'd go with football. I really would. I think football coaches probably
a lot more
baseball,
to deal with.
Well, managers make
in football
thousands of tiny little decisions
basketball,
that nobody's really paying attention to.
In game right away, you got to draw up a play. That's really important there because I mean you have your plays in football and stuff. It's almost like making halftime adjustments or something. I think, but I agree with you. Football, lot to deal with. I mean, quarterback could get hurt. Basketball, really, you have the best player. I mean, your guys. I mean, you kind of know what you got.
Yeah, and it's not to denigrate either of what any of these head coaches or managers do. I just think when it comes to baseball, you don't realize some of the little decisions that a manager or a head coach is making on a pitch by pitch basis. But with that said, the play calls, those are the coordinators that are making the play calls. The head coach, I guess, in some cases has final say on that. But I would still go football. Just seem to have a little bit more to do with what's happened on the field, and that's just coming from the outsider's perspective. JT, you must have tuned in late to hear me say about the hair. I have just enough hair that I might be able to do something with it. But I could braid my beard hair before I'd be able to do anything else with my head hair. All right, we've made it to the end of another award-winning edition of Halftime. We'll have the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast out shortly. Ruskin and Zach are ready to entertain you from 2 until 7, and we are back with you tomorrow. So for Matt Jones and Matt Travis, I'm Phil. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and keep those wet snowballs coming. And get up, get out, and get better.